Hey, it's Mike Squires, and this is the Couch Riffs Podcast. Hi, hello again. Hi, it's me. Hi there. Hey there, you. I see you. I don't really see you. That would be creepy, wouldn't it? I see you. I don't see you. But I see you. I hear you. I smell you. God, I need to stop now. Listen. Welcome to the episode. Welcome to the episode. My guest is the very funny Jack O'Shea of the band Bayside. Now, I never spoke to Jack before this. Like many episodes, I don't talk to people before, unless I know them. But I try to not catch up with anyone. If I do know someone that's on the show, I try to not catch up with them before the podcast recording, just so that we have some interesting and funny stuff to riff on. So, but man, it was clear that we were going to have a good time straight off the bat, and I was so stoked to meet Jack. And what a crazy story he has! I didn't know, and at all, I had no idea, but. His right arm became paralyzed, and he toured and he slung up his arm and taped it to his guitar strap and used only his wrist and fingers on his right hand to pick the strings. What a maniac. I can't even believe it. And a very funny guy. And so I hope you enjoy this conversation, because we certainly did. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you listening, supporting. I appreciate all of the pledge supporters. Appreciate you guys out there sharing episodes, leaving reviews and 5-star ratings where applicable. All that stuff really helps keep me in the algorithm, helps keep me in the charts, and helps me to continue getting great guests. And that's what I'm doing. It's what I've done from the beginning. I got no stinkers. Come on. So right now I want to thank all the folks who have been supporting the podcast. Okay. And I'm going to make this get through this as quickly as I can. So thank you, Ryan Waters, Hayden Smith, Ryan Hooper, Matt Gabbs, Justin Jones, Doug Starkovic, Deja Colantuono, Rochelle Parker, Chris Smith, Adam Pranica, Dan Hurst, James Pope, S.J. Somerset Sullivan, Mike Lacerda, Jamie McParland, Dan Leary, Kathy Giordano, Rebecca Pellman, Danny Bland, Soto Rebellos, Ryan Crace, Paul Hutzler, Justice Gash, Steve Hall, Teresa Morgan, Rolla Amplifiers, Perry Morgan, and thank you to River City Guitars. River City Guitars is a hot little number out in Spokane, Washington. Great little guitar store. Follow them on social media, at River City Guitars. They have a ton of stuff coming into the store all the time. It is showing up more quickly than they're able to get it onto the website. So if you want to see what is the newest, hottest, best, and greatest at the store, follow them on social media, Instagram and or Facebook. These guys are always buying instruments. So if you have something that you would like to exchange for money or trade, give them a call, go ahead and give them a shout at sales.rivercityguitars@gmail.com, or give them a call, 509-818-7693. Tell them Squire sent you. My guy, Bobby, he's got a real eye for what's cool. And that's what these guys specialize in: vintage, used, and generally cool stuff. So every week I pick something cool and I share it here. This week, I've been playing a lot of bass, as I said earlier, and so I'm picking one of the coolest basses ever. It's a 1967 Gibson Eb2c. I think the C just stands for cherry. I don't know. But this thing, it's like a 335. It's a hollow body bass, a Gibson hollow body bass. You know, it looks like a 335, right? This thing is so hot, so hot. It's got one of those big fat Gibson, bass pickups up in the neck position and nothing in the bridge position. So good. This thing has the original hard case. Can be had for $24.99. Just a drop in the bucket. They also take offers. You want to make them an offer? You want to try and offer a trade or whatever? Give them a shout, man. That's what I said. They're very friendly folks. They're super easy to work with. I met Bobby from doing business and that's a great way to figure out what someone's character is like, let me tell you. Bobby's the best. So River City Guitars, go check them out. Hey, don't forget to go check out couchriffs.com. We have a store over there, and we're about to open up a fancy limited edition pre-sale for some special merch. There'll be a link there and in all of our social media. So I appreciate all the support. Things have been going really well with the podcast, and that's because you're listening. So thank you very much. And I would be a fool to not mention the golden rule. Treat people like you want to be treated. It's not that fucking hard, and nobody wants to be treated like an asshole. And, if you think it's funny to be an asshole, then you're a dick. You're not even an asshole. You're a dick. And just don't be a dick. Just be cool. It's not that hard.
Hello. Oh,
yeah. Did I get this thing right? I'm going to turn this light down.
Hey,
I'm always fucking with this thing. It's an incredible fuck storm.
All right. Can you hear me?
I thought I did the right thing by setting up this light that my wife uses for makeup, and now it just gives me a green screen forehead.
Oh, I hear you. Well, I've accelerated into ponytail land now with quarantine and everything. I hadn't had long hair in, I don't know, almost a decade. And then with the last whatever, I've just stopped doing it. And now I've resorted to tie-dye and long hair. So I'm like, oh man, I don't know.
You got some sandals?
Oh yeah. There might have been Birkenstocks in effect this summer.
The kids are really into the Grateful Dead now, man.
I can't hate on the Grateful Dead. I can't say that I've ever been a big fan, per se. Can you hear me? Is the microphone? I'm only using a computer mic. I can run it through Logic if it's.
I can hear you great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't hate on them, but it certainly wouldn't be my bag per se. Although I'm a huge Ween fan, so I feel like that's sort of like in a parallel universe in a less musical sense. I feel like Ween is like if Frank Zappa wasn't as witty and the Grateful Dead weren't as. It's like a less talented and a less witty version of Zappa and Grateful Dead. But
those guys are really talented. I mean, I like that country record is great. I mean, whatever the Scotch Guard record is amazing.
They have a ton of it's incredible, but I think it comes from a different place than more of a strictly. When you also think about Mr. Would You Please Help My Pony or stuff. Yeah, the country. I dragged my poor wife to go see. They did the country record here in Nashville at the Ryman, and she had
amazing.
No idea. Yeah, it was like, oh, this is great. There's only a couple guys left from the group that actually recorded this record. And this was kind of born out of a joke, but I was like, I really would love for you to come to see this show with me. And we got there because I dragged her to a Zappa Plays Zappa thing where they had Ray White playing with them. And she was like, this is the weirdest crowd I've ever been in before. I was like, okay, well, remember that? I was like, we're going to go to Ween, and it's going to be way weirder than that. They did the country record, but they also did a bunch of weird deep cut Ween stuff. I think they had done they did the HIV song.
Right.
And my wife they started playing it, and everyone was going crazy. And she was like, what is this? I was like, the only words in this song are HIV and AIDS, and everyone's screaming along. She's like, this is the strangest concert that I think I've ever been to. She's like, I got to tell you, I'm happy to have seen this because I feel like Ween has some sort of a cultural importance. She's like, but I also have to tell you, I don't think I like this at all. It's
I
like,
think
oh, fair enough.
I think that a lot of the Deadheads and like Fish fans, I think they go for the Ween. Like Ween
Oh,
is their Ramones.
kind of. It is like the punk rock version of that. Of
Ween is the Ramones of the jam world.
I back that. I would say that they would back that too. I do want to apologize, by the way. I didn't get your email asking for Skype ID until it was like 8:15, and then I was like, oh, I should probably check. And then I was like, oh, there it is. So I feel bad that it was like kind of. I hope we weren't like, oh, this fucking asshole is like ghosting me today.
Oh, here we are. It's fine. Look, if I held a grudge for every time I've been ghosted in my life or whatever, like I'd probably have to hang myself.
I feel you on that one.
That's a big stagecoach to tow around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already happy to know that you are a Zappa fan.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're right there.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great.
I do. I had some college friends who stormed. I was into a lot of fusion anyway, and I had a few college friends who were like, you like fusion jazz already, and you have a weird sense of humor. I was like, have you ever considered this? And then Joe's Garage was the entry point for me. And then from there, kind of just all fell apart.
Do you have a favorite era?
You know what? Actually, I think probably because it was, I like the Mothers all right and stuff, and like the early like Hot Rat stuff I like. But I think for me, I would say probably the later era stuff. Obviously, I'm going to say like Overnight Sensation and Shake Your Booty. But Joe's Garage for me has always been like my entry point, and I always consider when somebody asks what should they listen to first, I was like, the production on this is great. It's got a cohesive storyline. It's still very tongue in cheek. It's very based. It's like a rock opera about the music world. I think that. Like, and then some of the stuff like with the Vinnie Colaiuta playing on that stuff is out of control. Like all the stuff like at the end of Catholic Girls or like the. I
saw Vinnie play with Jeff Beck a couple years ago, and it was fucking ferocious.
Was that the tour that he did with Buddy Guy when he was doing like the amphitheater tour?
No. I saw him at that theater where all the hippie bands play, north of
Westbury Music Fair.
No, it's just outside of the city in like west, one of the Chesters, you know.
Oh.
East Chester, West Chester, North Chester.
One of the Chesters.
Yeah, Chester. But check this out. Last show that I saw before the quarantine.
Oh yeah, man, Dweezil is a shredder. Dweezil can play. He plays every. I mean, well, he certainly is a more technical and a fluid player more than Frank ever was. But it's. I mean, obviously, you can't discount the compositional element of Frank. But man, he is a smooth player. Watching him just rehearsing all like the Zappa riffs and stuff, I'm like, oh fuck you, man.
It's really incredible. I think Frank's my favorite all-time soloist, though.
Yeah, he certainly. I think that it's interesting because when people talk about soloing, and I think that there's a certain amount of credit that I'll give to a person as far as like technical virtuosity goes. But as far as like having a recognizable sound and style, like there's nothing. You can hear three notes of anything and be like, that's Frank Zappa.
And it can be the clean, like watermelon and Easter hay, or it can be like the nasty, dirty, like what's the ooze coming out of your TV set? You know, it can be any of that.
Slime.
Yeah, it can be anything. It can be fuzzed out or super clean, and you just know.
Playing with a pick, or playing with a quarter. Yeah.
Did he use a quarter? I don't even know.
I think he was using a quarter for a lot of that stuff, just destroying strings.
Well, check this out. You're a pedal nerd, right?
Yeah.
I bought this because I couldn't afford the thing that he actually used, but
oh man, wow.
Do you know these things?
I have heard of them. I have a friend. Well, I work for a guy. I've been actually my COVID job is I'm building pedals for a guy in town who does he does this overdrive that's based on it's based on a Rat, but it has like one of the Union boost circuits built into the pre. So it's kind of it actually works really well as a clean boost, but as a gain pedal, it's like a Rat with a more controlled low end, which is pretty great. But I do I mean, I've been building pedals for a little bit. Actually, I'm starting a small company where I'm putting another pedal that doesn't need to be in the world into the world. That's like a circuit I'm working on with an Israeli engineer who is it's basically going to be a spin on a 2399 delay. I want it to be a vintage delay that has modern functionality. So it's going to have a 2399 circuit in it, so it'll still feel vibey and gritty. But I want it to have tap. I want to have tap, and I want to have tails, and I want to have toggleable tails. And have you ever played with the Walrus Audio textured reverb that has the sustain or the plus pedal at all that does that sustain feature?
No, but I know about the there are a couple people that do that, like the electro harmonics thing where you have the freeze and what is
exactly
that? What is the people that make the thing that has the little lightning bolt in it or whatever?
Oh, is that Dr. Scientist? Or no, it's the plasma pedal that has like the electric current overdrive thing.
They made a pedal that I was so fucking jazzed about. I walked by it at NAMM this last year, which is like the last function any of us went to and ever will go to. I love that we're right into the geek shit.
Sorry.
So I'm walking down the aisle and I see this pedal. It's fucking giant, which is like
that the rack mount version of it?
No, it's got a Bigsby on it. The pedal has a Bigsby on it, and it's called a Bigsby pedal. And you actually step on the arm of the Bigsby, and essentially it's kind of like a whammy. It's like it's like a whammy,
but with a Bigsby control arm on it.
With a Bigsby control arm on it, and very, if you press it all the way down, you don't dive down 3 octaves and go into fucking Freakazoid world.
You're not going to Tom Morello land or
Yeah. No, it's very like it wasn't as cool as I wanted it to be.
I like the idea of that.
The idea is incredible. I think they only made 2 or 3 of them.
That seems like kind of I have a pedal idea that I'm developing now that is going to be only fun for me. I feel like it's one of those things. Well, actually, I'm going to bounce it off you just real quick to see if you have any. Would this be something you're? It's more.
I'm recording.
100%. Okay. Well, I'll tell you off.
Okay.
Actually, no, I don't think it really even matters. But like, it's kind of it goes off the idea of like it's kind of I'll just give. Yeah. It's going to be kind of a cross between a Pog, a phase shifter, and a whammy pedal. So it'll have toggleable octave capabilities, and like with a PS5 where you can kind of stomp and you can set it to like octave up, octave down, fixed 2 octaves pitch, up, and it'll basically, and you can adjust the rate on which it'll either climb or descend.
Yeah.
So I want to have that where it'll function like that, but to set intervals, and it'll be 2 separate switches, so you can actually set like a race up or a race down, and then they'll be toggleable between like selective octaves. So you can kind of create chording with it that'll be toggleable on and off, or you can have it set so like racing up or like dive bombs or like pitch ups.
Oh, that's great. I know someone that'll probably buy one straight away. Although I think he has 2 or 3 PS5s on his board.
That's one of the things. Yeah.
Do you know Timo Ellis? Do you know that band, The Netherlands, or Netherlands they're called?
I do not.
Oh, they're like a cross between Zappa and the Melvins.
Oh yeah, I definitely need to then.
It's heavy and mathy, but slow, and it's not fast, spazzy like most math metal.
I'm interested. I'll give it a shot.
It's high art for sure. It is art metal, and
So I would like it, and everyone in my band will be disgusted by it.
I mean, that's a story of every band I've ever been in as well, pretty much.
Like, what the hell are we listening to? We're like, sorry, guys. Sorry. Just bear with me for a few minutes. Indulge me while I listen to something that you're having a hard time with.
Just let me get through this John Zorn album. Just.
Oh, I love me some Praxis. Actually, it's funny. My aunt is like a new age composer who lived in the Village for a long time in the 60s, and kind of palled around with like Zorn and Laswell and stuff. And she was over the moon when I first started getting into like a lot of like the Masada or like Naked City and Praxis stuff. So she took me to see one of his monodramas. He had like at the Opera House This was maybe about 8 years ago. This is another thing I brought my wife to, and she was like, "What are we going to?" I was like, "It's a John Zorn opera." So I don't really know what the most thrilling thing to her was we sat next to Wallace Shawn, and she was like, "It's the inconceivable guy," and I was like, "Totally." But we sat through we watched the whole thing, and she was like, "I feel like I'm in a fever dream. I don't know what's going on." and my aunt was like, "This is really cool." My aunt ended up passing off a lot of fun, like event-based things that we did while we were living in the city. And now living in Nashville, I thought it was like one of those things where we got here, we're like, "Oh, we're living where all the music is." And I was like, "Yeah, but different music."
Yeah.
I was like, I had our going. I have such a. Actually, I wanted to ask you how, like, you're living in New York City now, so this has been an interesting time to live in the city.
Well, here's the thing: is I think I moved here. You left in 2015.
2012.
Oh, 2012. So I got here in 2015, but 2 years ago, my wife and I bought a house up near Hudson, New York.
Oh, nice.
So we're upstate. Yeah. We still have a tiny little landing pad in Brooklyn, like a little rent-controlled thing, you know? It's my wife's apartment that she's had for 11 years. So we'll probably never get rid of that thing.
That's awesome.
I didn't understand that shit when I got there. I was like, "This place is a dump. Let's move." And she's like, "Never."
You're like, "Do you know how much we're paying for this? Nothing. Let's just hang on to this. We'll always want this."
Pretty much, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, it's great that you have that, but don't have to be. I feel like we moved to Tennessee. We lived in Nashville proper for the first 6 years of being here. And then last year we moved to Tennessee, which apparently is about 15 miles in any direction out of Nashville. You're like, "Oh, this is very much Tennessee all of a sudden," which is fine, but it's definitely different from any other living situation that I've ever had as far as almost everything growing up in Massachusetts and then moving into New York and then kind of living and growing up in the Northeast exclusively and then finding myself be like, "Oh, now we're in Tennessee." We're like, "Wow,
you're in the South, son."
Yeah, my daughter is developing a Southern accent, which is something that gives me great agita every time I think about it.
Wow.
It's like we have a joke, like a kind of a we have kind of like a joke, like Casablanca accent, where she's like, "Carry me, daddy." It's like kind of like she needs to be picked up, which I'm like, this is kind of cute. But then like when she's saying stuff, she's like, "LMNOP." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Not on my.
No.
Like, not on my watch, dummy. You're gonna fucking talk like you're from the Northeast. Get over here.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, sorry, I'm I feel like I have a tendency to ramble on and go on tangents, so I'm a difficult podcast.
No, that is an ideal podcast guest, believe me. So yeah, I've been back to the city since, this year many times. Once, I didn't for a few months. I just was like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, no thanks.
But it's weird. It's fucking weird, man. I took a free left on, what's the store where you buy fake bags? The street that you buy the fake bags on?
Canal Street.
I took a free left on Canal, man. Free left. What the fuck? That doesn't happen.
Nope.
I came from down through Hoboken, Jersey City, and came through the tunnel and got all the way across the city in like 7 minutes. Free left on Canal regularly,
That's an amazing thing. That's the beauty of that. I feel like in some ways where you're like, "Oh, I've got to drive through the city." Be like, "Hey, no problem, man." Like it's not like UN week where you're like, "Don't even get a cab, just walk." Be like, "It's 5 miles." Be like, "Just walk. It's quicker."
Right. But downtown in most cities is, like I'm from Seattle. That's how I should say thank you to Burke. Yeah, for introducing us. And then I reached out to you, and then Leif actually yesterday hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you know Jack?" I was like, "Well, funny you mention."
Man,
he's been. I ask people all the time, like, "Hey, who do you want to hear on the show?" And then, and it's how I learn. You know, everything basically. I'm a fucking old man. Like, I don't know shit. I don't know what kids like.
I'm right there with you.
Um,
As referenced by for our entrant conversation of Zorn and Zappa and Ween.
No, the kids love Ween, man. No, but seriously, the kids love Grateful Dead. What the fuck is up with that?
They put John Mayer in the band. That's what.
But didn't they love? They were kind of getting into it before that. It's like a
lifestyle, I think, that the kids that they identify with. I think, you got legal weed happening everywhere. I think they like tie-dye, they like the bear logo. But I think that if you really put
great
maybe
merchandising.
It really
great merchandising.
It definitely works. But I wonder if you stuck those kids out in a drug-free environment and made them sit through like a 4-hour dead set, if they're going to be like, this is so cool, or if they're going to be like, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Did you ever see them?
I did not see them.
I did.
Did you really?
I saw them 3 or 4 times.
Wow. See, I would have loved. I saw Fish for the similar experience, but I was late in the game as far as going into Jam.
Right.
So like that was. I mean, this was kind of Fish in the mid '90s. So Fish in full swing, and then it was one of those things where I was like, I like this, okay. And even as a musician who as a gratuitous player as well, where I'm like, yeah, just jerking off as far as I was like, but for some reason I thought I don't know, in my brain at the time I was like, Trey Anastasio is so much better like a guitar jerk off guy than like Jerry. And then like I don't know what I'm kicking myself because it's one of those things where I'm like, no, I should have really seen that if I had the chance, but it just didn't appeal to me when it was an opportunity.
I saw them twice very high on drugs and once on no drugs. And the on no drugs time was definitely the worst experience seeing them.
You got to get some of that brown acid in you.
I just don't know, man. It just is it's a kind of a lot of chaos. It sounds like a band that should have rehearsal, but that they don't, Like,
they've been touring for it. They don't need to practice. It's like,
that's what they think. They sure thought so. Yeah.
There are so many thousands of people every night who don't believe that they need to do anything different. So it's going to be hard for them. It's like being surrounded by yes men all day. It's like, you're doing a great job, guys. Be like,
gotta feel the music, man. It's okay. And I'll back up for a minute now. And I'll cross-reference this with Zappa. Like, one of the reasons that I love Zappa's soloing so much is because it's not perfect and precise. It is nasty, and he, misfrets, and, it's like, it's gritty.
But, soulful and emotive, yeah.
Yeah. In a crazy way, for sure. But, and I like that scrappiness. But I want a band to sound good.
Well, that's what Zappa, you've got basically, you can deal with that scratchiness because he's on top of near perfection every night with the way that his band was. It's like, I feel like when his solo sounds out or sounds vibey in that way, it's because it's sitting on top of like a pristine platter of excellence.
Right. Can you imagine if he was playing over Shit Sandwich Band?
I think then it would be, then it's that section in Joe's garage where it's like turn it down.
That's so good. Yeah. Does humor belong in music? I think so.
Oh my God. Well, if you're asking the wrong guy, if you're looking for a no on that one,
yeah,
I think, well, yeah, in some music, certainly I don't want to, I don't know. I will always gravitate to something that appeals to me on multiple levels, whether it's like, and I think that I hate being a production guy, but to some extent I have a hard time getting into some things. Like, I know I have a lot of friends who are massive Guided by Voices fans, and I feel like I like a couple of the albums. I like Isolation Drills because the production doesn't sound super 4-tracky, and even
Isolation Drills has Glad Girls on it.
It has like Teenage FBI and like
Glad Girls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Um,
Rick Ocasek did that album.
yeah, I think so. So like you can tell like the production on that is very different from a lot of the other stuff. But
Yeah.
that allows me, that lets me get through a lot more of the. It's hard for me sometimes to be like the value is so high in this because there's because it's super interesting or because like the songwriting is at next level. I'm like, yeah, but I'm having a hard time listening to it. Like
That's one of 50 reasons that I can't get into like the black metal.
Oh yeah, I feel like I like a decent amount of like old grindcore that I think appealed to me at a younger age because like Carcass or like Napalm Death and like Nuclear Assault for thrash or like Cannibal Corpse. I was like, I think I was so enamored with the image and like I was like, these guys are fucking singing about eating dead bodies and like hammer smash face and like exhume to consume. I was like, oh, I love this. And like I'm 12 years old. I'm walking around in like a Symphonies of Sickness shirt and everyone's like, what is that? And like, it's a collage of body parts. This is amazing. And then I go back and listen to it. I'm like, this is unlistenable. Like, this is so hard. But like with a band like Carcass then puts out like Heartwork years later. And I'm like, okay, you're finally getting to the production level where I'm like, dude. Okay, this is what you guys were supposed to sound like. Rad. Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you miss like the whole like recomputerification and like the Symphonies of Sickness stuff where it's just like brutal and terrible and honest. And like these guys are just singing about
right.
the worst shit you can imagine.
You've watched, have you read what is the book? The book about all of the Norwegian.
Is it I didn't read the book. I saw the Into the Light Takes Us. Is that
yeah,
that's the Cliff's Notes, I feel like.
Yeah, it's that movie. I forgot that I watched it and I watched it again and I was like, God, why am I doing this to myself? It's just so, it views like a black metal record sounds. Like it views like those records listen. It's just like barely watchable. The quality is terrible. And then it's also, you find out all this awful shit about a lot of those guys that you didn't want to know. Like, oh, these guys are not guys I would want to know and hang out with. I would not be friends with these guys. These guys are like fucking sexist and like racist, nationalist, fucking. I understand why they would, I understand. I don't condone burning down churches or anything. I understand being pissed that some cultural spiritual places were destroyed and but we got that coming too. We got that coming in spades here, and I would be, we would call it terror here. We call everything terror here. Uh-oh, you froze up.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, you're all right. Yeah. Yeah, that was a disappointing thing to learn about a lot of those guys.
We did a tour we haven't done that much European touring, but we did one show in Oslo, and I was like, I gotta go to like Niceblad. I want to go to like the Helvet House and see where this all went down. And I talked to the woman who was working there when we were there, and she was like, yeah, I can show you around. You want to see like the basement where like they practiced and stuff? I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So we went down, and like Euronymous' weight bench is down there, and they've got all these old like Mayhem drum heads and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is like kind of again, like it's not like I'm like, oh, I love Mayhem. Like, this is my favorite. Like, but it was like one of those things where I was like, I've listened to enough metal in my days where I'm like, I'm curious. I want to kind of do this. And I was talking to them. I was like, so where does all this come from? They're like, Metallica. Everything's from Metallica. It all comes back to Metallica. I was like, that's fucking interesting.
Right.
I was waiting for like a more like, an enchanted D&D game in the forest with a nymph, and like they were praying to the Dark Lord and they were blessed with this thing, and it's like, no, just Metallica.
They were really into the first two records.
Yeah, kill them all, basically. There you go. There you go. Here's black metal.
I remember, and I've said this before, I remember when I thought that Venom was like the most extreme thing I'd ever heard. I was in the 7th grade in 1984, And I was like, oh my God, this is so extreme and so brutal and so evil. And I just thought it was the best,
Yeah.
And I gave it a few years and I went back and listened to it and I was like, well, this just sounds like a cross between Motorhead and Judas Priest, but really poorly executed.
Yeah.
For the most part.
But something about, I think when you're that age though, like having something that you identify as being dangerous or again, like I still have a spot in my heart for things like Napalm Death, but like really when I go back and I listen to like early recordings, I'm like, wow, that was another drag my wife to thing. She's a sport. She's definitely a sport. That Slayer farewell tour they did with like Lamb of God and Testament and Anthrax and Napalm Death opened it. And she was like, I've never seen Slayer. I was like, fuck you, we're going. Like I want to go see this anyway, but like if you've never seen it, like you should see all out. And she'd never seen Testament. And I was like, this is probably the best guitar player in this genre that you're ever going to see.
Oh yeah.
And she went and she was like, that guy's really good, huh? I was like, yeah, he fucking is. And then after, when was that? After Alan Holdsworth passed, and I didn't realize how much the Skolnick was involved in like that fusion stuff. Because when he started I started getting into like the Skolnick trio stuff and all this like,
yeah, dude.
I was like, oh man, I hate you even more. I was like, fuck that guy.
Have you interacted with him at all?
No, I haven't. My friend is an LD for Lamb of God who was on that tour. I was like, do you know him? And he was like, yeah, he's kind of quiet though. I saw he did the podcast with you. And
he's a hell of a nice guy.
Oh man.
He's like the nicest guy. Smart. Yeah. Brooke.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of the guys where I'm like, I'd punish that guy in a way where he'd just be like, I gotta get away from this kid.
I think he's pretty used to it. Yeah. He's a graceful fella.
What a talent though. Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Yeah, you bet. But it seems like guitar in general with the information age upon us. I can't even say that without laughing because information usually sucks. But with the spread of guitar information and guitar knowledge and especially people being able to see videos, like there's this whole generation of players who grew up being able to watch videos and they fucking shred so hard.
Yeah, it's something else. I mean, YouTube is really, I know even just, if I I didn't have access to any of that shit. And you're in the same, I mean, I'm in my mid 40s now. And it's like when I think about growing up and just punishing myself, teaching myself ear training and things like that, I couldn't even fathom being like, oh, I wonder how to play that. Be like, I guess I'll just YouTube a tutorial for free right now and be like, oh, that's cool. Or like, hey, I wonder what let me see what let me Google this guy playing a show at this club 5 years ago. It's like, hey, there's the whole thing. And there's a better camera angle if you click on this button. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah, no, that's that is an amazing
information
thing.
Plus you get keyboard cat and
chocolate rain.
Yeah.
That's the last internet sensation that I know about.
What about Danny with a 4? Do you know Danny with a 4?
No.
Oh, that's pretty good. Danny with a 4 is in the chocolate rain territory.
Oh, really?
It's like D4NNY. It's like I guess it's all sort of derivative of William Hung ultimately, but it's kind of in that vein.
That was the only episode of that show that I ever watched when Hung auditioned and failed to make the show. And then he ended up becoming one of the stars that evolved out of that. It's so crazy. America is crazy, dude.
Yeah, you don't have to be good. You just have to be memorable.
Yeah, unfortunately. Has it ever? Is that new though?
I don't think so. It's just become ever more apparent with the information age. Like I feel like if you can be the biggest being a colossal failure will get you more acclaim than actually being righteous or good or talented at this point. Right. It's like, hey, what do you do? Be like, I am the biggest fuck up that I know. Be like, how big? Be like global scale big. Be like, you're famous. Here's a check. Be like, wow. Why bother? Why are we even trying? Why do we even try?
Because it's important to be good. And
Yeah, I
not
think
just like good at something like quality, but like I think it's important to be. This is something that I think comes with being old. Like, I don't think I was ever a fuck, really.
yeah,
Like, I was never, I don't think anyone would have ever said, like, oh, that Mike Squires guy, he's a real fuck.
a
But,
terrible person.
but there are definitely times when people would have said, oh, yeah, he's a fucking mess, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy? Yeah, pretty sloppy.
Oh, I feel you. But that's part of. I think that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun part of the ride, though. I
I
feel
think
like
so.
being able to do. I would feel. I would be less of a person if I hadn't gone through a lot of dark times, and a lot of really pushing the boundaries of what's in good taste as far as how I treated myself. But
Right.
here I am with kids who think that I've never done anything wrong so far that they'll probably be able to find on the internet or whatever the new version of the internet that they won't even have to look it up. It'll just be beamed straight into their brain.
It'll be a memory
They're like,
automatically.
"Oh, I wonder what my dad used to do when he was my age," and all of a sudden be like, "No shit! Like apparently I just know that now. I've got like brain Bluetooth, and I just
Do you think that it won't even be like that? Like you can just preserve your memories at some point and then your memories can become someone else's memories? And what would
oh,
that do to a human brain?
it would be like that movie Chappie, that Die Antwoord movie, where they basically figured out how to take your consciousness and load it onto a PS4 and then upload it into a robot. I don't know. I think that people are meant to die. I don't want to live longer than we need to. I don't think
I certainly don't want to.
you don't want to die or you don't want to live forever.
No, I don't want to live forever and I don't want to die
Oh,
in nothing.
yeah, but I mean, I think that you already won't. Like, I feel like when you think about the things that I think that the fact that we're doing something that people would even consider listening to anyway, I think means that you've obviously established something where you've created you as a person or something that people have expressed interest in. It's not like you're somebody who's like,
no
well,
one listens to this.
well,
I'm
I've
just
listened
kidding.
to it. I
I'm
found out
kidding.
about you through a series of friends. No, but it's one of
Yeah.
those things where it's like when you think about the people that are so complacent and so contented in beyond or what would be in less than mediocrity, where it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna basically sit on here and beat my kids and drink Bud Lights until I'm dead, and nobody will ever miss me except being like, what's that wet spot over there? I feel like that looks like a dead guy. I'd be like, oh, well, we better clean that thing up then.
Right.
I think that got heavy. I'm sorry, I kind of taking it in a
No,
weird spot.
I like it. I love this. I think that first of all, I'm not into bored people. Like people who are like, I'm bored. It's like, well, fucking do something.
Yeah, there's a billion things you could do.
Yeah, I am never bored. I am fucking never bored. I don't. I'm like my mortality caught up with me in the last 5 years for sure. I lost, my mom 5 years ago, and I was like, all right, my mom's only 21 years older than me. Like I'm way over halfway done, you know?
Gotta get you gotta get your Shawshank and be like, get busy living.
That's right, man. So I'm like, if I have the luxury of having consciousness on my deathbed, like on your deathbed, you'll have complete consciousness. If I have
Which is
consciousness,
nice. Yeah.
if I have consciousness on my deathbed, like I certainly don't want to be disappointed with where I'm at. Like I want to be content and just be like, that was pretty fun. That was a good time. I did some fun shit.
Did you ever see Death to Smoochie?
What's that?
Have you ever seen Death to Smoochie?
No, I thought you said. At first, I heard "Death Becomes She," and I was thinking "Death Becomes Her," and I was like, "We just watched that like a month ago.
Oh,
I'd never seen it before." And my wife was like, oh, "You've never seen this before?"
There's that Bruce Willis and Demi Moore and Melanie Griffith, not Melanie Griffith, Kurt Russell's wife. I can't think. Goldie Hawn.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Apparently, they're making they're doing a remake.
Death Becomes Her again. Death Becomes Her 2. Still dead.
I guess. Reanimator.
Oh my god!
Mark
Now,
II.
now I'm listening.
Yeah.
There's the only reason I said that about Death to Smoochie is there's one scene where it's like a guy who's trying to assassinate the Edward Norton character and he's falling off and he's like, "I never saw Venice," and I'm like, when somebody it's fun. That's a long extra tangent story where that when people talk about having regrets of their deathbed, that is what pops into my head almost all the time is that scene where he's like falling off rafters onto like the. He's like, I never saw Venice. I was like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, I don't want to have regrets, Fuck that.
I'm definitely going to have regrets, but nothing that's keeping me. The only stuff that's keeping me awake right now, beyond the existential dread, is more related to the future than the past at this point.
Right, of course. Well, you have a whole extra set of responsibilities now, huh?
Yeah, they're so young, and what's weird about it's weird about it is they're both. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old, and it's my wife is constantly talking about. She's like, I can't believe we did this. I can't believe we brought these people into the world. I was like, look, this might not be a bad time as far as like they're concerned, because I feel like this is all they're ever going to know, and if things get violently different in the future and it just becomes normal, that's going to be their normal. That's never not going to be their normal. So it's not like they're young enough to not have to deal with a crazy adjustment period that we're dealing with. Like if things go completely sideways now, for the better or for the worse, it's going to be an adjustment, because I've spent the better part of half of a century living in this one specific line. And then for me to derail later in life and be like, no, this is the way things are now. It's difficult for us, but like a 6-month and a 4-year-old, they're like, if it's like, hey guys, we're doing this now, they'd be like, okay. And
Right.
it's like just on about their business. So as long as it's not like, straight up like Terminator style, where it's like,
Kids, we're carving our own arrows now, okay?
She'd be like, great. Can I touch the gun now? Be like, yeah, now you can touch the gun. The Morlocks are coming, Daddy. What should I do? Be like, well, defend yourself, dummy. Come on.
That's another thing that we have up here in upstate New York, which I think that I never saw on the West Coast. Like the deadheads on the West Coast, they just drive. They don't drive big Silverado pickups. No deadhead drives a Silverado pickup on the West Coast. I didn't even think that they had deadheads over here. It's a different brand. Deadheads, and especially the old deadheads, they drive Volvos, or they drive Volkswagens, or new models sometimes. But here they have Silverados with NRA stickers next to them.
The Deadheads?
Yeah, man.
Oh, so you live in Tennessee too?
Essentially, yeah.
You live in North Tennessee?
I mean, I live in farm country, yeah. Like my neighbors are farmers and stuff, and I get on with everyone. It's fine. But it's there are a lot of political flags flying around here, and
crazy.
I don't want to see them necessarily. It's like it's crazy. I'm a volunteer firefighter up here, and I deal with a lot of pretty, I don't think it'd be hard to figure out. I'm not a very conservative fella. And so it's a tough go sometimes, and I just have to keep my mouth shut as best as I can just because we're not there to, whatever.
Gab about your political differences.
I have a lot to sort out the country's problems,
I've had basically this verbatim conversation with most of my neighbors. Be like, you're a great dude, you're a great neighbor. I just don't think we should talk about religion or politics, because we're going to get along much better. I was like, right on, man, you want to have a beer? They're like, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, I saw that sexy nun video, and I was wondering if you wanted to come down to the chapel with me on Sunday. Maybe get yourself forgiven.
They're like, no, I'm good. I'm straight with my maker.
Yeah, no, I'm cool, man. Thanks. Thank you, though.
My neighbor offered to take me to his church recently. This is crazy. He's like, you should come to church with me sometime. I was like, what kind of church is it? He's like, it's right down the street. I was like, no. What sect is it? He's like, what do you mean, what sect is it? I was like, well, I'm assuming it's a Christian church, but what kind of church is it? He's like, I'm not following you. I was like, is it Baptist? Is it like universal Unitarian? Is it Lutheran? Is it Christian? Is it Catholic? He's like, I don't know. It's just like down there. And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna. I was like, look, I really appreciate the offer, and like maybe someday I'll go with you, but like I'm not in the market.
He didn't know what kind.
No, I was trying to explain. He's
He
very
didn't know
well
his
meaning.
brand.
He doesn't know his brand. He's like, he knows what beer he drinks. He knows what whiskey he likes, he knows that Jesus is his savior, but he doesn't really know to what degree, I suppose. But it's funny because like I spent my whole formative education was Catholic school, so I spent a lot of time around the Catholic Church, and I feel like I'm educated about it enough to know that I can get out of religion what I need without participating. Particularly in a scenario where I guess the average attendee doesn't necessarily know where he is exactly.
Right.
I don't want to get heavy. I'm sorry.
No, look, man, we can get heavy all you want. And I'm like this is great for me because I don't have like the whole joy of having a podcast is I don't really have conversations like these with my neighbors. And
me neither.
You know, I think as much as people enjoy to hear these sort of off the cuff conversations, I like to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, me too, especially like for somebody that I'm kind of meeting for the first time. We have mutual friends, but I've actually never. This is the first time I'm like, hey, dude, what's up?
No, it's amazing. This is how it usually is. I never talk to anyone on the phone before the podcast. I like it to feel like we're meeting at a dinner party or something. Not to sound pretentious. We're meeting at a bonfire, man. Or a dinner party or an art show.
We're meeting at a used car lot on Route 1 on the Auto Mile.
That's right. That's right. To sell a gun on Craigslist.
I'm trying to buy a used Switch from this guy. It says $150. They're not anywhere. I got to get one. I want to play Zelda.
Do you play games?
I do. I haven't I used to really play a decent amount of video games. I mean, with touring, I feel like that sort of was a way for me to pass a lot of hours on just like, right, we're traveling and what are we going to do? And I did. And like at home in between tours when it's like, hey, you got 4 days off and you really don't have much time to do anything. It's like, and your family's not close, but like, I'll play video games. But since the kids,
right.
Occasionally. This is going to go on to too much information, but why not? I kind of mentioned it to you in an email that I'm in the market for a vasectomy, which is an interesting thing. And part of the appeal for me is that I'm buying myself a 2-day vacation on the couch, where I'm sort of fully liberated from responsibility for a couple of days and I'm kind of making it this weird stay-at-home mancation where I'm planning on locking myself into a room and playing video games for 2 days, which is in theory going to be super relaxing. But I'm curious because I haven't played a lot of them recently, so I'm kind of curious if it will be something that I'm going to be like, this is great, or am I going to just be like, what the fuck am I doing with my time right now?
I want to. How's your stomach?
How do you mean?
You have a strong constitution?
Oh yeah.
And you have you can stand fast on this decision to have a vasectomy?
I think so.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I'm going to tell you a story. I think I've told the story here before, so I'll try to keep it brief-ish. But I assume because your appointment's next week, right? The week that this episode will be published.
Yeah.
So they usually do the operations on Fridays, so that or Thursdays. Oh, really?
I got a Wednesday afternoon date with Destiny.
Wow. My doctor was like, we always do this. We always do this on Thursday or Friday so that the patients can take a day off and then have a long weekend and go back to work on Monday. And I was like, great. Let me just say this. Most people have a really easy time with that operation. I did not. And it could have been a number of different things, could have been a number of different things. The day of my operation, I went and saw a movie at the movie theater. I was very careful about it all, and I had a jock strap on, and I had the ice and the whole thing. I went and saw Aliens versus Predator. It was not worth it. It's
I feel like that's the kind of mindless distraction you need, though, before you go and do something life-changing to yourself.
Well, no, it was after.
Oh, after.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
And then Monday I went back to work, and I had a relatively physical job, So about a week or 10 days later, I started to have some very extreme discomfort. And then within 24 hours, my balls were the color of like an eggplant, and they would not have fit in this glass that I'm showing you right now. They would not have fit in here. And I just have like regular balls.
You don't have like weird porno niche movie balls.
No, but they were not something you'd want to see. There's nothing that I wanted to see, but everyone that came, there was a host of people who took care of me through that period. And I made everyone see. I was like, you got to see this.
For science.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't weird if it's for science. You got to see this.
So yeah, I had a hematoma, which is a blood clot.
Yeah, some subdermal bleeding.
And in my scrotum. And so it's a bad scene. Yeah.
Did they have to lance and drain?
They didn't do anything. I went back to the doctor, and they were like, you have a hematoma. And then so there was this whole other... A while later, I had some other issues, and I went to a specialist, and I was like, I don't know, doc. I'm trying to not be paranoid, but it just is like, things are all wrong. And this was this old codger. He was like, straight off the bat, he sits me down in his office, and it's all dark. And, he's a, what do you call it? What's a doctor who works on colons?
Gastroenterologist.
No, urologist.
No, urologist is those are the front guys, aren't they?
Urologist.
At
any rate, I was like,
the butt guy.
I was like, you have a really nice office, man. It's like, you got a really classy joint here. And he just like spouted off some miserable shit. Well, blah, 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 blah. No humor. And then I explained to him what happens. And then before he even examines me, he calls the doctor who gave me my vasectomy. And he comes back into my room, in which he had told me, all right, just take your pants off and sit down here. So I take my pants off, and I'm there for like 15 minutes, just like, what the hell's going on? And he comes back in, doesn't check me out. He's like, I spoke to your doctor, and he just like told me what that doctor said. You had a sperm granuloma. And I'm like, okay, that's the first time I've heard that. What does that mean? Can you tell me? And he starts yelling at me. And I'm like, and I'm fucking naked from the waist down. And I'm like, I'm getting really angry at this point. I'm like, okay, dude, you don't need to yell at me. He's a big dude, and I'm big, but he's definitely bigger than me. But he's like 30 years older than me probably, and I'm like 33. So I think I could take him, even with my pants around my ankles.
Just go for the D's, man. He'll go down like a house of cards, that guy.
And so I fucking jump up off the examination table, and I'm like, are we going? Like, is that what this is? Are we going? And it got really heated. And then he stormed out of the examination room and left the door open. And I'm standing there just cussing at him out through the door, just like Donald Duckin. It was ugly. Yeah.
Don't yell at me. You're like shaming me and yelling at me, angry grandpa.
Yeah, you didn't even check out my junk you just called the other doctor. Like,
Like, I don't believe this guy. I need to get a second. He's getting a second opinion on you. Has that ever happened? I don't know that happens that
Well, I
frequently.
mean, I look like a dirtbag. And
But if you're going with he's a doctor and you are going for a medical issue.
right. Well, the big thing that he yelled at me about was he was like, "You're wasting my time. I'm dealing with people who are dying from cancer." And I'm like,
Should I come back when they're dead? Yeah.
yeah. I was just kind of like, "Hey man, I got it. I'm insured."
I have an appointment. Does that count?
Yeah, does that count for anything?
I didn't just wander in off the street in between your appointments here.
So I'm not trying to scare you out of getting a vasectomy, but I just want you to know that when your doctor told you, well, 3% of all people experience this. And of that 3%, 1% experiences this. I was that 1%.
Well, can I tell you an interesting thing? Of the 1%, you are the fourth person that I've talked to who has a horror story out of five people that I know. You were the one person had I don't know about the color being similar, but the size was explained to me in a similar fashion. Whereas
I've never seen anything like it.
It was like a healthy grapefruit was what one was described as.
Yeah.
The other one was basically red and swollen, but not necessarily like humongous. The third was just another baby. That's what happened.
Right.
Whereas I guess it didn't work. I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
I know someone who their thing only took on one side.
Oh.
So they still have one cylinder firing.
Is that like with your rear view mirrors in a car though, where you can switch like to the left or right? You can adjust it that way. Be like, during tonight's performance, I'm only going to be featuring the left side, so we don't need to worry about it. But in case something pops up and we need to procreate, we can switch over to the right side. It's like a little toggle switch.
Let me lay on my right side. I don't want to pinch this thing.
Yeah. Could you imagine if that was all it really took? You're like, I'm not going to get vasectomy. But before I come, I'm just going to grab the base and just pinch right there, and we'll be all set. That sounds like some straight up 7th grade science right there. I'd be like, no, man, you won't get pregnant if you grab your balls really hard.
That's like a thing that you would have learned while you're smoking a joint out by the tree at the bog, and you're playing hacky sack.
Just pinch the tube. Just pinch the tube when you're coming. Don't worry about it.
Some stuff will come out, but none of the swimmers.
Yeah, it'll be totally safe.
I heard my uncle talking about it.
You know what? Some 10-year-old kid who's going to listen to this will be like, "Oh no, I heard this on this podcast one time."
Listen, kids, don't do sex.
Yeah, don't listen to anything that I'm saying, for Christ's
Not
sakes.
with people, at least.
Yeah,
or anything living.
Yeah,
just do it with yourself.
What was the funniest? I have a friend who had told me about a friend growing up that the choice non-animated partner was a sandwich bag filled with shaving cream between the mattress and box spring.
What?
So that would be a good chance to practice pinching it off.
That sounds
Imagine
terrible.
if you were in a world.
That sounds
Yeah, I mean, it certainly
terrible.
doesn't sound like something that'd be appealing. That sounds like torture porn style.
No, that sounds like a terrible thing.
I won't use last names, but that was my friend Jeff's friend, who is, and I know Jeff. Well, actually, Jeff would might listen to that at some point, and he'd be like, "You making fun of my buddy?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I was, but I didn't use his name." I was like, "That's pretty fucked up."
Yeah, the shaving cream guy should have just
bag of shaving cream. Bag of shaving cream.
Order yourself a fleshlight, buddy. Come on, get with the modern times.
Well,
he
I
probably
guess
has one now.
I'm sure he does.
That was the 80s.
The sandwich.
Should we talk about guitars?
Probably. Sorry about that. I feel like I've got. Welcome to my fever dream of reality.
This is the best shit. Do you remember the first time that you got excited about guitar?
Yeah, actually I do. I have a friend named Kevin who is he actually is he's still my friend. He's probably my longest friend. This is 5th grade, so this is I don't remember. I'm 44. 5th grade is my age minus your grade 76. I don't know. It was a while ago. I was 8 years old. Um, Somewhere in the mid 80s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And he came to my school in like fifth grade, and he was like, he didn't have older brothers or something, but inexplicably was way into like AC/DC and Zeppelin, kind of, and a lot of like early hardcore and metal stuff. Kind of like, it was like a really strange thing for a kid without older siblings to be on that path.
Right.
But he had a guitar, and we just became buds, and he sold me my first, he got a new guitar and sold me his guitar for $25. So we had these like little basement parties. And at that point I'd gotten into Metallica, and I was like, I can't play anything like this. So it was like, I started the beginning. Like for there, I feel like the Green Day of my era, like as far as like, what can I play that's power chords, was like the Sex Pistols stuff. So I think the first songs that I was playing were Misfits and Sex Pistols. And it's funny, actually, the two kids, Kevin works for Dropkick Murphys for a long time now. And I think since he's playing bass with them now, that Ken has kind of stepped down. And I ended up in a band for a little while with a couple of those guys. And Matt Kelly, who plays drums in Dropkick, was also in that. So I think we played a Catholic school dance. We played my junior high Catholic school dance with like two of the guys who are now playing Dropkick Murphys.
That's
and a couple
amazing.
guys who ended up being like Sharpie skinheads in Massachusetts, who all kind of had fairly prolific hardcore touring careers, and did like a couple Sex Pistols covers and some Misfits covers. And
How did your buddy, like, did you ever ask him, how did you come into this?
you know what? He had a couple friends that were a little bit older. That guy, Matt Kelly, was a year older than him. So he's a year older than me. And I think he had older brothers, because he was also like when I was in like 6th and 7th grade, he was wearing like Maiden shirts and stuff like that. So I think that he had friends with older siblings, but he was, he's still like one of the biggest AC/DC guys that I know. And he's like, he builds amps. He's like way into that like tone aesthetic, and just everything is like right down there, kind of vintagey amps and like Gibson's vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got me really pumped, and he showed me a lot of the music that kind of was super formative to me. Like he kind of, between like the classic rock and stuff with like AC/DC and Zeppelin, early U2 stuff, early Maiden stuff, kind of got into Metallica, Megadeth, kind of got me into that. There was a college radio station in Massachusetts that had a couple of shows that we listened to. One of them was the Big O Thrash Show, and we listened to that and was listening to a lot of stuff like, that's how I kind of found out about things like Nuclear Assault. And
Seattle had a show called Brain Pain that was the same kind of deal.
There was like a Chow Daddy Sucks, Minivans Suck. There was the Jim Sokolov Sucks. We had a song called Gladiator Movies. It's like everything was like, it was all like, and sort of in the style and spirit of Anal Cunt. There was not a song longer than 45 seconds. Just like one of those really, but it was fun. Like we got together and played shows, and I could dig and find some of those tapes, but they sound exactly like what you think they sound like.
Right.
You want to hear a $25 guitar through a $10 amp?
I love it. That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the first time? I mean, surely you do. That's a stupid question, but tell me about your first real show.
My first real show. Actually, I guess the first show that we did might have been that show in my junior high dance where we played. It was like me and that kid Kevin and Matt, and was like me, Kevin, Matt, this kid Nick DePrima, and I guess that might have been it for that one. But yeah, we played at a dance. There was like it was a 7th grade dance.
That was
so.
What did you guys play?
In 1988, 1987, and they stopped playing whatever the Richard Marx or whatever was happening. I can't even remember what would have been something like that. They were still doing Stairway to Heaven as like slow dances at that time. But they stopped the DJ set so that we could play like a 5-song set. And we played Anarchy in the UK, God Save the Queen. We played the Misfits song She, and then we played 3 original songs, one of which was called Afro Dan the Caveman. And I think that the band name that we played under was GSP, which was Greedy Selfish Pigs.
It's important. Your first band should always be a 3-letter thing. My high school band was called FSB. It was called the Finkelstein Shit Band.
Yes.
Like, I'm shipping you off to military school.
I got a buddy over there at United Fruit. United UF would have been a good one. Be like United Fruit.
Oh, it's so good. That's going to be... Maybe I'll call my solo album United... No, I already have a name. United Fruit.
We did. Yeah, I think the 3-letter thing, we were, big with like SOD and FOD. We did. Oh, yeah.
COC.
I loved it. We didn't have an O in the middle, though.
Right.
I wonder if that, at that time, for us, was the same thing as like the something city something.
Right.
You got like Murder City Devils and River City Rebel, or River City High, and there's so many like something something something.
Yeah.
But I do like the letter ones. I actually I found a bunch of old vinyl recently, and I was listening to a bunch of old FOD, Flag of Democracy stuff. And my wife is none pleased with. It turns out that I can tolerate a lot of the stuff that I used to listen to because it's like time and place for me.
Right.
My wife doesn't have any of that reference point, so it is all garbage as far as she's concerned.
What does 4-year-old think of it?
You know, it's funny. She likes some of it. There's a lot of stuff. She backs Van Halen. She backs a lot of the AC/DC stuff.
She sounds like a great kid.
So far so good. I have not. It's funny. I have some stuff she's not that into, but like I've tried. Well, I guess last year. Well, it's funny. She gets it. She kind of gets a kick out of Cannibal Corpse because I've told her that that's Cookie Monster's band, and she actually is like, she's like, "Is this really Cookie Monster's band?" I was like, "Does it sound like him?" She's like, "Yeah." It's like, "That's Cookie Monster's band." So she refers to Cannibal Corpse as Cookie Monster's band. But again, like, I think she's like, I want to listen to Cookie Monster's band. And she listened to it for like one half of one song. And she's like, I don't want to listen to this anymore. I'm like, that's fair. We did a thing for a while where we would go to record stores and I would let her pick out something from used vinyl just based on its visual appearance, where I'd like, just go in there. Like, let's look.
I bought a lot of records like that as a kid.
It was great. She actually, her first successful trip was she picked out Bad Brains solo, self-titled. Because my wife has a Bad Brains shirt and it's like bright yellow, and she was like, I like this. I was like, I'm happy that you picked this. I don't think you're gonna like it, but we're gonna go for it.
Right.
And she picked out what else did she get that trip? She ended up picking up, without my help and without my direction, she picked out a Ramones record and a Bad Brains record. And the Ramones was more palatable for her, but...
Well, isn't that ironic, because Bad Brains is named for a Ramones song?
There you go. So she might be tuned in a little bit, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
But as far as stuff that we agree on right now, she's kind of into They Might Be Giants, which I can hang with.
Sure.
And we don't do the whole kids music thing. We're not doing like Baby Shark and
I don't know what that is.
No, just thank your lucky stars that you don't. You get the one sticking point that I have is that her all-time favorite song is All Star by Smash Mouth. So I have, in the last 3 years of my life, probably listened to more Smash Mouth certainly more than I would have ever assumed I would have. But we can pepper in some good stuff in there.
How did she pick that song? She just heard it one day and
somebody thought it was from Shrek, because I guess it was in this, but it turns out it's not. She heard it organically on like just pop radio in Nashville. She was like, "What is this song?" And it's like, Smash Mouth. And then she was like, "Can I hear it again?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. You know, we have Spotify. We'll put it on." Right. And then that was it. Once it was programmed in, then she's like, Can I hear All Star again?" And we're like, but she sings it. She knows all the words. She's like super excited about it. I recorded a shitty Logic version of it that she can sing on. And I have a couple of like file save attempts of her singing Smash Mouth that will definitely be Let Me Embarrass the Holy Shit Out of You in high school.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Be like,
That's
oh, this is your
amazing.
boyfriend? Be like, does he want to hear you singing Smash Mouth All Star when you're 4 years old? Because I do. Like, why don't you come over?
Come on over here, Jed.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Is that your real tree? Is that your real tree pickup out there? Be like, nice. What do you got, a Hemi in that? Hey, I want to hear this.
Now look here, son. Come on over here. Anything you do to my daughter, I'm going to do to you.
Yeah. I was like, I would threaten you with a shotgun, but I noticed you have 4 in the back of your truck. Turns out I've been outgunned.
Oh, that's incredible. So I've had this funny idea for a while. And maybe you're a perfect candidate to be involved.
Okay.
I want to start a kids band.
All right. I'm listening.
That sounds basically like the Ramones.
Okay.
Just sounds like the Ramones. Every song is like, I want to learn how to tie my shoes. I don't want to skip my nap. I wanna go to school. You know, this kind of shit.
What about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And
we'll have a song,
the song.
It's going to be 120 BPM, and we're going to count it off at 240.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
How did that even happen? How did that work?
I love that so much. I have no idea how they made that work, but that band is perfect. I wouldn't change it.
No, not
Holy shit. That's a band that I regret never having an opportunity to see.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of my regrets is, I think, acts that I didn't see when I didn't, you know what? And living in the city when I did, I always was like, I should go see Les Paul before he dies. And I never did.
I have the same regret. Every time I would visit, I would look through The Voice and go, oh, I could go see Les Paul play. And, I think it was a weeknight and there was always something going on. I was always up to something, and, I just fucking wouldn't go. And then he passed, and then your opportunity is gone.
It's like, oh, yeah, it's funny. I never did a ton of listening to him while I was in New York, but it was more of just like I'm playing guitars that have his literal name on them. I should take an interest. But it's funny. I think in the last couple of years, I kind of went down a little bit of a hole, not a super deep hole, but with him and with Chet Atkins a little bit. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh man, now I'm extra sad that I didn't go see Les Paul at the time.
Can you Travis pick?
No, I can try. I mean, I think I can. I could do it in the sense that if I had a dedicated part to learn, I could figure out specific things. I think that having the number of years around something, I could kind of jump in and hack my way through, or spend a good couple of days like rehearsing a technique where I could get it. But as far as like just casually, like, here we go, I'm like, no.
There's when I see someone doing that, like, that chord progression, and then they'll improvise as if it was some dumb fucking blues hammer jam, but they'll improvise Travis pick and play a melody. Every time I feel like they're fucking wizards.
You're like, here, check out this Mr. Sandman version I'm going to rip out of my butt real quick. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
It's insane to me. It's one of my measures
of a player.
Yeah. I only measure people by what they can do that I can't do. If you can do what I do, I'm not impressed because I'm not very good. And like,
I identify with that so much. I feel
it's like, dazzle me, even with something relatively simple.
Oh my God. I love that so much. That's one of the things that I think attracted me to the idea of Buckethead. I don't know that he's necessarily like one of my favorite guitar players, but I would see just like the speed and fluidity and like different technique. And I'd be like, well, I certainly can't do that. I was like, he's amazing. Be like, do you want to play like that? I was like, no, not particularly, but I think it's really impressive that he can play like that.
That was one of those things, and I've talked about this a lot as well. It's like, I realized probably in 1989 that I was not like shred guitar, like true shred guitar. Everyone's like, oh, he's shredding. And it's like, well, Not really. I mean, not, is he Chris Impellitteri shredding? No. Is he Michelangelo shredding or Ingve shredding? No. Then he's not really shredding, or she's not really shredding. They're not really shredding. And I was never going to shred. And so
I can play competently in my own world, but that's about like I'm definitely not. I'm with you on that. I'm not like virtuoso. Like, oh, check this fucking super technical 64th note run that I'm doing real quick.
Right.
You're like, oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
must be cool.
I get all tense. I think probably some of that came from never having an instructor or a teacher of any kind until till way too late. Like I was in my 30s probably when I got my first lesson. I got a couple of bass lessons from a guy.
Do you have theory? Do you do with those lessons? Was it like theory lessons, or was it just like kind of
more like let's smoke a joint and you show me how to do some stuff on the guitar and I'll show you how to do some stuff on the bass. That was the vibe, really. And it was this guy Brad Hauser who was like, his roommate was Matt Chamberlain, who you probably are more familiar with his name.
Matt Chamberlain.
Drawing
a blank. I feel like
he's like one of the most recorded session drummers of this century, or of the last 20, 30 years. He was in Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. He was the Saturday Night Live guy for a while. He turned down.
Oh, okay.
I think he turned down the Pearl Jam gig way back in the very, very, very beginning, and he had with Brad, the guy that I took a couple lessons with, had this band with Skerrick. Do you know Skerrick, the sax player? Called Critters Buggin', and they were kind of this like, it blew my mind when I saw them. Critters Buggin' was this sort of like Bitches Brew kind of freak out, free jazz, dance, fucking hippie fest where everyone was just stoned out of their minds and tripping out. And Matt was, it was like 1994 or 94, 95, and he's like playing live drums and creating drum loops as he plays. And I'd never seen anything like that, But they were absolute freakazoid artists.
Critters Buggin'.
Yeah, their recordings don't quite
doesn't really
translate, but I bet you could find some videos and it would express probably more clearly what those guys were up to. But yeah, no, those are the only lessons I got. But anytime I tried to go fast, I would tense up. It would fuck me up. I'd tense up. And you see those players who can play fluidly and fast, they're,
having a snack, looking over there, doing whatever.
Yeah, they're not tense at all.
I don't get that. I am the same thing. I am like by nature, I am manic and I'm panicky and I'm sweaty. And I'm awful, and like it's just one of those things. I feel like I leaned on booze super hard, especially like with my touring career, really hard, really early, just because I'm not comfortable as a performer. I'm very comfortable in small social settings, but as far as being confident and comfortable, I never have been. I've developed a skill set, I think, over the last nearly 2 decades of forcing myself to do that, like for however many hundreds of nights a year, where I don't need the booze as much, but that was the only way that I could keep myself from really just being super rigid. And it's funny, I think posturally speaking as well, I ended up with I have like a 3-level cervical fusion that resulted in a paralysis that I think was ultimately from poor posture. I ended up, I found out, so this was in 2013. I basically had a lot of ongoing pain in my arm, and it was like nerve pain. And I was like, and being Irish and dumb, I guess, or it's just like, it's fine. And growing up with a conservative doctor dad who was always like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Do some stretches. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I think I should really see something about this. Like, it hurts like crazy. And then 2013, we were going to Europe to do one of the bigger support tours we'd ever done. Uh,
Is your dad still around?
yes, he's
You should
he's a
fucking
retired.
sue him for malpractice.
Well, I'll tell you about the other guy I want to sue for malpractice. I mean, but I know him for long enough to know that he was like the guy, like I could come in and my hand would be like backwards. Like, I'd
Right.
be like, does this look okay? He'd be like, what did he always say? It'll be better before you're married. That was pretty much like, don't worry about it. Like he was refused. I mean, I think in retrospect, I appreciate the lack of willingness to just prescribe. And I think
Right.
that it certainly didn't do anything to keep me off of drugs for like a period of my life, but it was enough for me to have a healthier attitude towards like letting my body heal itself. But anyway, but I digress. I had an incident where I was just painting part of my ceiling and my arm just fell and I couldn't move it. I could move my fingers. And I was like, wow, this is a really weird pinched nerve. I actually have no feeling in my whole right side on the top part. I was like, well, it's not a heart attack and I'm not having a stroke. My face is okay. So I went to my doctor and I was like, hey, listen, I can't move my arm. I can move my hand and my fingers, but I can't move my arm, and it's kind of freaking me out. He's like, well, I think it's a pinched nerve. Take some
He's like,
Advil.
well, move your subway ticket to your other pocket.
Well, this is already in Nashville.
Oh.
So I was going to this doctor who was like tickled with the fact that he was like, oh, you're like I have so many musicians as patients. This is cool. I was like, hey, I can't move my arm. I was like, well, I think it's probably a pinched nerve. Why don't you just take some ibuprofen and do some stretches and try to rest? And I was like, okay. I was like, hey, listen, I'm leaving for a 6-week tour of Europe, like in a few days. Do you think that that's going to be okay? He's like, yeah, it should come back. Anyway, flash forward to like midway through the Europe tour, and I'm like, I still can't move my fucking arm. So I ended up playing. I played Johnny Ramone style. I had a guitar. I dropped it all the way down so my arm could hang freely, and I played only with my fingers, and we played half-hour sets, so it was fine. But I did like a full like small arena tour in Europe, not playing.
Opening slot?
Yeah, we did. It was with Gaslight Anthem and Deer Tick.
Wow.
And those were dark days. That was definitely one of those like, well, I'm going to try to play a half an hour set of like technical solos with my fingers, and then I'm going to drink myself into a stupor.
How did that go? How did the performance go?
I got to tell you, I talk about just learning how to swim by throwing yourself in the pool. Certainly it wouldn't have been my cleanest performances, but I definitely didn't dog it by any stretch.
Right.
I'd have my tech put a guitar on me, and I actually had to tape my arm to the base of the guitar around the strap so that it wouldn't move position. So basically have my arm taped so that my hand was resting on the bridge.
Are you fucking serious?
Very serious. And I came home and had emergency spinal surgery. And because I had waited at that point 7.5 weeks between being paralyzed and having the surgery, it took me like 6 months to get the use of my arm back. And I have like so much nerve damage up here. I have like very little tactile sensation through this part of my arm. So, but yeah, I had a doctor who was just like, yeah, you'll be fine. Just take some Advil and head off to Europe, where you're going to be 3,000 miles away. And it's like, that was a comprehensive Europe tour too. So it wasn't even like you're in England. They're like, oh, of course I understand you. That's like me in like weirdo Italy being like, do you have a sling? Like a sling? Mi scusi, a sling for my arm?
Yeah, like a thing to hold it up, and they're like,
No, yeah, non pardon.
Like the show, in Italy, it's like, the show starts in an hour, but the stage isn't even built yet.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm going to just go fuck myself. Is that what you're talking about? Like, yeah, great. But like, yeah. So we did, I forget what the hell I was going with that.
Well, you lost your arm.
Oh yeah, but that I don't know what was the pre-story.
You got back, and
I did this. Oh yeah, and then I don't even fucking know. My brain doesn't. I have like the attention. I'm like a kitten, basically. I'm like, what's that over there?
You are in good company. We were talking about boozing and drugging. And
oh yeah, so that being a good crutch and just getting me through like the performance anxiety. Yeah, I guess that's a tale as old as time. I'm sure.
For sure, I quit. I don't.
Oh,
drink.
posture.
I don't drink anymore because I can't, man. I just like it gets dark for me quick. Quick.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
thought that I could drink, you know, and I tried when I moved to New York, and I was like, oh, my life is great. I'm married. Everything's cool. I'm happy. Probably I could drink, but turns out absolutely can't.
So it's 5 years?
Well, 4.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's not the first time that I've been down that road. I started quitting drinking in fucking 8th grade, you know. So, yeah. Q back a while ago, like, oh, Squires, oh, nice guy, pretty messy. You know, I can't drink. It gets real dark real quick.
Yeah.
Some people can do it, and I'm jealous. God, I love the first feeling.
Yeah.
I love the first part.
Just the other 90% of it is just like, what am I doing
Terrible.
there?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, did you have to pick me up off the ground last night? Be like, yeah, you were trying to dive into traffic. You literally laid down in the middle of the road in London last night and we're yelling at cars to run you over. They're like, oh, I don't remember any of that. Be like, you were adamant about it. I'm like, all right, you say so, man.
You probably really don't remember trying to pee on all the cars in the middle of the road either then.
Oh, I've been there. I've managed somewhat to scale it back. I feel like I definitely haven't had any full episodes in a long time. But I feel like I'm kind of coming to the similar conclusion. I'm having this similar thing where it's just like, what are you doing, man? Maybe I'm getting to a point where it's like, I feel like I'm having a hard time justifying the value of what I'm doing, even on a small scale at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people can manage. No dice. So how's your arm now?
It's fine. I don't have a lot of strength in my right arm. I'm like I'm right-handed,
So
but I feel like I'm so confident
Stranger.
left-handed with so many things. It's not even the stranger anymore.
But now your right hand is a stranger, right? You can just sit on that thing for 30 seconds and call it good.
You know what's really interesting? I have become almost equally good at doing what I would consider non-essential things as an ambidextrous person. Like I feel like if I was to go bowling, I'll bowl left-handed, I'll bowl right-handed.
Really?
I can play darts, play pool, like kind of like dumb stuff like that where I'm like, well, I'll just do this left-handed then. Or like I brush
Wait
my
a
teeth
minute. You could throw darts left-handed.
I will throw. Yeah, I went with. Actually, it's funny. I had a Mesa Boogie rep who was in town, and he was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? You can't like." I was like, "My aim is for shit with right-handed stuff." I was like, "I'll play left-handed," and I absolutely was like, I threw like a bunch of bullseyes in the first game. He was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I've actually been doing." I ended up just because I think also playing guitar helps because I think I feel like I have much more strength in my left hand than somebody who doesn't do like piano or guitar or any sort of an instrument thing where there's precision and strength. Yeah, this is true. I'm terrible at typing though. I'll never be. I'm still.
Finger peck.
Yeah. That's how my kids. That's going to be how they're going to make fun of me in the future if there's still a keyboard on anything.
So wait a minute. Yeah, none of that occurred to me. So you say 6 months plus 7 weeks. So really 8 months of no right arm.
Oh yeah.
And even after that, there was probably some pretty loosey-goosey times.
Just real weak. Oh, this is where it gets super magic too. So we started touring again after post-surgery. I had to wear this. I basically was like just doing a bunch of like physical therapy stuff and got through, but like it was to the point where I could move my arm. I could kind of do like basic, like lift my arm up, but I still I can barely curl like 15 pounds with my right arm at this point. I can lift things like I can drink this bottle of water, but if you ask me to lift something heavy, I'm lifting with my left hand at this point. So that is that. And then we were going on this tour and I was like, I got to take advantage of this. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to eat right. So we did this whole tour where I'd been working out and I'd lost a bunch of weight and I was feeling good and I wasn't drinking that much. Because, coming out of that tunnel of just being like, I'm paralyzed, I'm a guitar player. One of the best things I heard was from the surgeon who did my surgery where I was like, hey, I'm a guitar player. How long is it going to take for my arm to come back? He was like, well, this nerve damage, it might not come back. He's like, you need to prepare yourself for the event, for the reality that might not work. And he was like, oh, but by the way, I saw this really cool video where this guy was in the subway and he's playing guitar with his feet. Maybe you could do that.
What an asshole.
And it came from a place, it came from a sincere place. I think he was trying to be like, I don't even think it was for levity. He was like legitimately like, no, he was really good. I was like, I don't think, my wife just turned to him. She's like, you better stop. Like, no, like
No
he's
more.
really, yeah. But it came back. It just, a lot of physical therapy, and it did come back. But I still have residual nerve damage. But anyway, we did this tour, and I'm back in shape, and I'm like lost a bunch of weight, and I'm not drinking as much anymore because I was like starting to get happy about like being able to play. And
Yeah.
I think it corrected a lot of. I think again, like because of the posture issues, and just as far as like my practicing, my just general posture for practicing, and the physicality of it, everything became very different. And I was like, I kind of retaught myself to play in a way that was more ergonomic, I guess. So that was all very positive. And then we did this tour, and we were shooting a video at a windmill museum in Lubbock, Texas. And it was empty. So we had it was a windmill museum. There's nothing exciting about a windmill museum. It's just like this big empty thing. And in this one room, there was a room that was probably the size of a medium-sized supermarket, but it was just polished concrete floors. And it was this big empty space, and along the wall was this row of wheeled office chairs. So I was like, well, I'm not going to not sketch across this whole room on this like glass surface on office chairs. And the chair went sideways, and I landed on my shoulder on my right side, and I exploded my. I had a 4-level AC separation and torn rotator cuff. So again, me being the smartest man in the world, I finished the last week and a half of that tour in a sling. And had to tape my arm again back to a guitar while like my collarbone was basically sticking out like this for 5 days, and got back and then had to have the surgery for that. So, and then after that surgery, I picked up my kit.
Your right side has really taken a fucking punishment.
It's bad. Yeah. Then, as a result of that, I picked up my daughter, and my bicep ripped off of my shoulder. So I had to go have another surgery to fix that. So now,
that as a result of it just not being
everything over there? This is like my whole right arm is a disaster at this point.
It's an anarchy zone.
It is definitely function only. Like if somebody was like, you want to arm wrestle? I'd be like, absolutely not. Like I can't do it. It hasn't prevented me from like picking up my kids or like doing anything like that, but it has actually gotten me out of some like be like, hey, I need a friend to help me move. Be like, I'm not your guy.
Party whistle, right?
Yeah. I've never been able to. I can't. I feel like I'm a dad. I should know how to do that shit. I can't. How am I going to get the coach's attention when my kid's sucking at sports?
Hey, put my kid in, you fucking fuck.
Can you see that shit over there?
That's fucking nuts, man. So how that was since 2012 all this shit started? Because well,
we had this. I think that the origin of that paralysis was ultimately I don't know. In 2005, the band Bayside had a rollover accident in Wyoming on 80, and our drummer had passed, and our bass player had broken his back. But it turns out that I broke part of my neck in that accident, and being uninsured and frightened of crippling debt, just didn't ever get anything. Because, I walked away from the accident, and it was never something that I thought about. And then when it started manifesting itself as nerve pain, compounded with the fact that when I practice, I look like the lowercase C, where I'm just kind of hunched over and tense. And so all of those factors were just like, you're fucked.
Right.
So, yeah, but I'd say I've been having physical job-related issues since probably about 2008.
You should have had OSHA down to one of your gigs, and they'd have written you up a bunch of citations and made sure you got on the straight and narrow.
What a world. It's one of those things. I guess it was like, I feel like it was never like just don't do it. Be like, I can't not do it. That's silly. Well, to the date, I am the only person in my band who hasn't missed a show. We've played shows with either replacements or just omission, but I've never missed one.
Wow.
That's my I'm not like I'm fishing for like a lifetime achievement.
Right. I'm lifetime bereavement award. I can't fucking believe you taped your arm to your guitar strap so that you could play.
Let me just see if I can find this.
No, it's the first thing I'm going to do when we're done is I'm going to go Google a video from one of these shows. That sounds fucking, I've never heard of anything more ridiculous in my life.
I've got to find, there's got to be, someone posted a picture of it recently. Well, I guess that's my post neck surgery. Or was after my,
looking good.
Where's the picture? We ended up printing a merch item that was a banner.
When you had your neck surgery, did you wear a halo?
No, I had to wear no, because there's I have basically a titanium stick of juicy fruit that is fusing all my stuff here. So that's all, I'm all screwed in nice and tight. I have the internal hardware.
Are there things that I have some hardware in my leg. The disappointing thing is it never puts off the alarm at the airport.
I want that so bad. So I want to be like, well, I got screws in my shoulder and I got a couple on my neck. And if you do the x-ray, it's going to look real bitchin'. But they're like, I guess medicine got on top of that shit. And they were like, we're figuring it out.
It's so weird.
I want to find that picture.
You've seen x-rays of it though, right?
Oh yeah, it looks awesome.
It's fucking insane. I used to have my x-ray just like hanging out near my computer because I always wanted to see it and be like, yeah, that's my leg. But it just looks like Home Depot in there, man. It's just
it's not as impressive when you're like, oh, I got screws in my thing. But like, it does look like it was like installed by some weird day laborer someone picked up like outside Lowe's.
For real. The real eye opener for me was when I was going back and seeing my surgeon for like my physical therapy and my checkups. The incision scar on my leg is this big, but the bar or the plate is like this long, and I was like, hey doc, question for you. How, and he's like, oh yeah, we really work that thing in there.
Yeah, you're lucky you're sleeping when that happens, but
oh dude, there are those moments where I swear I woke up during surgery, and I asked him about it. Of course he said, no way, you were all kinds of juiced up. A lot of people think they wake up, but I wonder, man.
I think you would remember that. I feel like, be like, hey, what are you doing with that? Oh my God. Like,
wait a minute. Why is the patient touching his penis? First thing you do when you wake up, right?
It's there. Actually, one of the first surgeries that I had when I woke up and I was like, I really got to take a leak. And they were like, you are. And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, oh no, you have a catheter. Don't worry about it. I was like, wait a minute, what? And I was like, what happened? Why is there a tube in me? And they're like, oh, don't worry about that. That'll be taken out hastily by a nurse who isn't having a bad day when you leave the hospital.
I've had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 general anesthesia operations since. Never had one before I was like 32 or 33. And then all in the last like 16 years.
Yeah, same.
It'll definitely remind you of your age.
It's funny to touch back on what we started with, where you're talking about, I'm kind of like appreciating mortality a little bit. Like, I think that nothing like a series of, hey, my body is actually starting to fail to get you to really appreciate each day as a gift.
You're not jumping off the front of the stage anymore.
I'm not jumping off on anything anymore.
Right. You're not jumping off the front of the stage, even like at the end of sound check, like with your butt down and just.
Like, where are the stairs?
Yeah. Where's the ramp, actually? My eyesight's not so good. I'd like to take the ramp. Can I take the ramp?
Is that ramp wet? Because I can't afford to slip and fall right
now. So when did that sort of, when do you consider the end of that to be. Like you're still recovering. Your right arm will make some more recovery.
Nah, I think I'm pretty much as good as it's going to get at this point.
Really?
I'm comfortable. I can get
You're gonna
around
work
at
that
this point.
15 a little bit more, and you're gonna get some more strength. Yeah.
Well, as soon as I got to work out that motivation to work out that 15 a little bit.
Right.
But I mean, it's funny because like it's I think when this whole everything that's been going on this year like really hit, and everyone's like, we're locking down, between being in lockdown and having a newborn in March, I was like, you know what? I can't go anywhere. We can't go anywhere. I'm going to be home. I'm going to spend time with my family. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to work out. And I did for like the first month. And then it was like, hey, you don't sleep anymore because there's a newborn who's screaming all the time. I was like, I'm not getting sleep. But as soon as this kid starts sleeping, I'm going to start working out and eating right. And then he's sleeping. And it's like, well, now I'm just dying from existential dread. So I guess I'm not going to work out anymore. I've got into the nihilist version of like, what is life anyway? Like, why? And then I've kind of in the last couple of weeks, I'm kind of coming out on the other side and being like, nah, get back into it, just work out, get yourself straight. So
like March, you were oat milk and granola, and now you're just like fucking chocolate milk and marshmallows.
Well, it went from straight up like oat milk and granola and like running a few miles every morning, and then it devolved into just dessert for breakfast, and then now it's working its way back to oat milk and granola.
Look, dessert for breakfast is underrated as far as I'm concerned.
I think that again, this is just science speaking. This isn't me. I think if you're going to eat something that's really, really unhealthy, you might as well do it early in the day because it gives you the whole day to work that out of your system. You shouldn't save dessert for the last thing you eat before you go to bed.
Right.
So you know what? You want cake? Have cake for breakfast. And then
work the sugar off, right?
Yeah, you crash, and then you take a nap, and then you wake up and you have another piece of cake, and then
that's like Spanish style.
Siesta. I like a couple of siestas. There's nothing wrong with having a few siestas.
I'm the master of like the 5-minute nap.
How do you do that?
I don't know, man. Like sometimes I'll fall asleep on the couch and I'll wake up and I'll feel completely rejuvenated. I'll feel like I had a cup of coffee.
Oh my God.
And sometimes I'll just get that jolt feeling when you're falling asleep and you wake up real quick, you know? And that's enough. But sometimes I'll doze off and I'll wake up and I'll feel so good, and I'll ask my wife, how long was I asleep? And she's a terrible judge of time. But she's always like, I don't think you were really asleep. Like maybe 2 minutes. I don't know.
25
3 minutes. Yeah.
I feel like it's now 2025.
But it feels, Rip Van Winkle. It feels great. And that's my jam for sure.
I'm jealous. I have those, but it always feels like a setback. I feel like I've got the sleep equivalent of a hangover every time if I fall asleep for even 30 seconds, I wake up and it's like, ugh. You know, like when you have like an early morning flight and it's like 4:30 in the morning and you're like, get up, it's time to go. And you're like, I just went to bed an hour ago. This sucks. I feel like even if I fall asleep for 5 minutes, that's going to be how I feel until I can have meaningful sleep.
The rest of your day, you feel scooped out.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm starting to, again, I feel kind of that way all day now until for the next 18 years or so.
Are you building those pedals Monday through Friday then? Is that like a regular go-to gig?
It's kind of, since, again, like being in here, the guy who runs 1981 is a friend of mine, and he's building a lot, but he's trying to grow it. So I have like a little shop in my garage. So I build stuff for him kind of around, and it's good. I do it from here, so I can kind of work around. My wife works from home between the kids and everything else. I kind of go out and do a few hours here, a few hours there. So it's kind of like whenever I can do it.
Oh,
I don't have a set schedule. So it works really well. And then it's funny. I feel like pedal building is kind of a little bit like adult Legos in the sense that it's just putting things together. I mean, and it's like building Legos, but it's also like building the same Lego set over and over again. But there's an element of it that is very meditative and peaceful. And I've listened to a lot of music and I listened to a lot of books on tape and stuff. So that is a good escape from the chaos and sort of internal monologue that I've got going all the time. And it's nice to be able to kind of quiet. That would be the closest thing to, I guess, meditation that I do. So I think that it's beyond the fact that it's kind of fiscally responsible for me to try to do anything to kind of contribute as much as I can when I'm sort of not touring for the foreseeable future to have something coming in. But it's also, I think it's good mentally for me. And as far as like growing I had done a lot of kit building and kind of like modifying pedals at home, and I'm dipping my toes into amps. I'm doing some small Fender Fender kit builds. But it's
like
all just
champ style.
I have a couple 5F1s going right now that I'm just kind of, I'm doing a 15-watt 5F1 that I'm kind of,
what is that? That's like a Princeton?
No, it's just like it's a one knob this one, it's a champ. It's a one knob 5. This one's going to be, the one I'm doing right now is I just got a different power transformer. So I'm going to run it at 15 watts and put it through a 10-inch speaker. So it'll have like good headroom for like, I guess the 5-watt one is really just going to be like, just crank it. It's going to record nice. It'll be like burly and kind of gritty. And the 15-watt one will just be like a nice, like bedroom pedal guitar, but 15 watts will be plenty loud. And the goal for these champs is basically, if my kids decide to play guitar, it's like, no kid of mine's going to play a Kemper for their first amp. They're going to, you're going to get a hand-wired tube amp. God damn it. So, and of course, like, I'm sure they're going to be like, I don't want to play guitar. Why would I want guitar's like an old instrument. I want to play this fucking new holodeck thing or some shit. Like, why would I want that? I've got an implant in my brain that I can just think about music and it plays it. You're like, all right, well, never mind.
I can just remember about music that hasn't been made yet with this app.
It's like, well, you got a point there, kid.
I can remember the future.
Oh, that. Remember the future is definitely going to be your new jam band, right?
Oh, dude, let me back up for a minute just to fully get in there. I was in a jam band
called Remember the Future,
called Eat the Feeling.
Ooh.
Like practically the same thing. And I never was into jam music, but I got to Seattle and I had a Jackson and a Crate amp and I wanted to be in fucking Helmet, and nobody, I had a Doris, I have talked about this a lot, but I couldn't fucking get a gig, man. I couldn't get a gig. I called every ad that sounded good to me, and for whatever reason they just didn't want me. They were like, shaved head, fuck off, because I was straight out of the Marine Corps. They're like, nah, you look stupid or you're fat, we don't want you. I'm just like, but I can play the guitar. I'm like, I really want to work. I really want to be in a band. And they're just like, you don't do heroin, we don't want you around. What are you, a narc? And then
I could try heroin.
I'll try it. Where do I put it? Right here? In my eye?
Is it a patch? Can I vape it?
You can now.
Oh God, that's what we need. Progress.
Remember the future.
What's your favorite like shitty audition for a band that you didn't get into?
Well, here's the deal. Once I started playing bass, I met some guys and they had this post-grunge jam band. So the singer had a great voice, but he definitely yarled, but he was a hippie, and it was just they had a flute player and a rain stick thing and a female background singer, and it was they had a very hippie thing looking, and then they needed a bass player, and I was like, I play bass. Not only did I not play bass, I didn't own a bass. I fucking didn't know what a bass did, except for it was a bummer if you went to your friend's house and they were like, all right, we're going to play pre-songs. There's 4 guitar players. We have to change turns playing bass. And you're like, fuck.
Bummer.
Yeah, it was just like the worst. Yeah, exactly. And so I fucking borrowed a bass and learned all the songs and got the gig. I got the gig.
You have to go buy. Then you have to go buy an amp.
Well, no. Then I went and traded. And I borrowed money and did all this shit and bought myself a G&L bass. Yeah. No, I got a sound gear bass, and I've been a sound gear bass. Ooh. It wasn't very good. And it was like the first tier one, right? Or first or second. They made some really nice ones. And I got a crate bass amp with a 215 cab.
Okay.
But then, I mean, I just worked my fucking ass off. You know, I worked 50 hours a week, and we practiced 5 nights a week. The band was really good. Like, awesome. we could do it, you know? And I learned a lot about music that was my first real band. That was my first gigging band, you know?
Man.
But yeah, I just worked, eventually got a G&L, then eventually got an SVT, and that was it. That was my rig.
Then you're like, this is fine. I don't need anything different from this.
Yeah, no, and I'd never really needed anything different after that. I've had a lot of different, you know, amps and shit, but
G&L makes some nice stuff, man.
Oh, they really do. I don't have any now, but I ended up having two of their basses. Look at this fucking thing. I'm going to tell you, this is going to out me, although I've posted some videos. I mean, you've admitted to being a little bit out of your mind. I am fucking out of my mind, right? I bought this bass.
Is that a fretless bass?
Well, it is now.
Oh, you pulled out the fret wire, huh?
Well, I mean, I didn't do it.
Somebody did it.
Yes, I had a fella do it. So
you ripping some weather report tunes over.
Well, I love this bass, and hold on, I love that bass, but about a couple months ago, I became obsessed with that song "Every Time You Go Away." And I've heard the song a million times. You know, it was all over the radio when I was in the 8th grade, and it just never registered with me, you know. But one day it came on like some playlist, and I heard the bass line for the first time, and it's Pino Palladino. And I was just like, it fucked me up. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to learn that bass line. But I didn't have a fretless bass. So I ripped the frets out of that thing just to learn that song.
My God.
I'm trying to convince some people to do that one on Couch Riffs. It's a fucking great song.
I only know the chorus. I know the chorus in my head, but I can't. Oh wait. Yeah,
it's like a sitar guitar part there, yeah. Oh, it's so good, dude. It's such a good song. Listen to the bass line the next time you hear it, you know, like next time it comes up. It's
well, maybe I'll rethink my choice. I'm a huge Thin Lizzy fan, and I saw that and I was like, I should do that. But let me listen to that because I have enough.
I need to find a singer for that one. I think I've got most of the other bits put together.
Oh, yeah, I'm pumped. I feel like I've been trying.
Let's not talk. You've already said too much, so we're not going to talk about what song we're going to do specifically. Okay. We want it to be a surprise. Full warning though. Every person that is in each video is a speed bump.
I understand. I've submitted. I'm usually pretty good when people are like, "Can you do this?" I'll be like, "When do you need it?" Be like, "Next week." Be like, "Here it is." And then I've done 3 of them that started in April, and I haven't seen anything.
Right. Well, it's because there's, you know, did you see the Young Turks one?
I haven't, not yet.
Oh, dude, it's pretty good, and no fault of my own. But it came out really, good. But I think that thing started in March or April. It came out in fucking August 1st or something. You know, it came out not that long ago, 7 weeks ago. It's crazy.
I'm taking notes down here.
Oh, what are you noting?
Well, I'm noting that I want to listen to the Netherlands.
Oh, Netherlands, yeah.
I'm gonna look for some videos of critters bugging.
Oh,
And I'm
yes.
gonna look at your video for Young Turks.
Oh, yeah. Those are three quality choices. You learned a couple things.
Yeah. Well,
I
I'm more
learned
special.
some shit.
Yeah. Well, you learned that I have the inability to shut my mouth for more than 10 seconds.
Oh, I love it. The less opportunity I have to speak on my podcast, the smarter I seem.
No, I love it. I've done I've been a guest on a handful of podcasts, and I have a friend who does one here, and I did his first episode that clocked in somewhere around 3.5 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, dude, we finished, and I was like, I just want to apologize. He was like, that was great. I was like, for me and you, it was great. I think that the average person who's listening turned this thing off about 2.5 hours ago.
Do you want to hear something remarkable? My longest podcasts are the ones that get the highest listens.
Let's go. What are you doing for the rest of the night? It's 10:30 here.
It's
go for another 4 hours. I don't have shit to do till Wednesday. Let's
go. Next Wednesday. It's pretty crazy. Like, originally I broke up some episodes that I thought were long into 2 episodes because I was like, I'll make this part 1 and part 2. Nope. That was a mistake, man. I didn't even know.
I think you should have saved something like you should have teased eggplant balls at the beginning and then held off for the very end. Then people would be like, I'm tired, but I got to hold out for eggplant balls.
It'd be like bring it all the way back around like a Chappelle monologue, like a Chappelle joke, just like really tie it all in at the end.
Man, that guy is definitely pretty impressive.
That guy is the fucking Yngwie Malmsteen of comedians.
It's something else. The stuff I have a friend of mine who lives in the Dayton area I went to that taping of the outdoor show and has been, I guess he's friendly with somebody that lives in his camp, I think one of his DJs or something, and has been around him socially a handful of times. And I was just like, he's like, that guy's operates on a different level of everything. It's pretty impressive. But I think it's interesting being able to riff as a guitar player, as a musician, where you can kind of hang as an improv player and you can kind of make your way around and you can kind of sit into things and stylistically improvise or stylistically kind of fit into things. But to be able to think on your feet that way, or kind of a similar, maybe to a similar but different thing, I think being able to like sort of like kind of freestyle hip hop stuff where you're able to think verbally quickly. And I'm a stuttering mess. And again, I think when we were talking about being stiff and tight and tense and doing that, I don't have the ability to relax and let every part of my body relax, to let things happen that way. It's one of those things where I'm like, well, I admire that because it's something I can't do, but it's actually something I'm like super like impressed by, but also like I want to watch. I want to see that, especially when something like that feels, as I'm sure there's, I'm sure it's not like fully ad-libbed, but there's definitely elements of it where you're like, this is all just off the cuff. And you're like, that's fucking impressive.
I did see him perform at Radio City a few years ago, which was incredible.
So he's ripping butts at Radio City.
It was amazing.
Oh, man.
But I don't, and about a few months later, he released the two shows.
Oh, the Comedy Cellar, or not the Comedy Cellar. He did one at the Comedy Store in the small room, and then
the big one.
Oh man.
But I think that like some of that material was definitely, present. I think he was like working it out, working up to it.
I like that he's working out his material at Radio City for a show that he's taping at the small room at the Comedy Store.
Right? It's fucking incredible. Imagine being a comedian. It's like, I guess it would be like, I saw, speaking of seeing people that you want to see, I saw, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. What the fuck is wrong with my brain? John Prine at Radio City.
Oh, nice.
And it wasn't the first time I'd seen him. I'd seen him before. I saw him in Oregon and Portland at a beautiful theater there. But saw him at Radio City. And, that's also Although he had a some accompaniment in Portland, and he had a full band at Radio City. But a lot of his performance is just him and a guitar, you know. And who's the famous like new outlaw country guy that everyone's gaga about? That's like the hip guy.
Sturgill Simpson.
Yeah, he opened. I say new. The guy's had a career for 10 years or something, right? He opened, and you know, I'll admit I just wasn't familiar really, so I wasn't a fan before. But man, that guy was fucking great. He was great. I didn't like that Devo record he made, but
I didn't know that he did a Devo record.
Well,
is it an act? I like a Devo-esque kind of like a.
Well, it's just like electronic elements.
Oh, was that the thing that he had done that was like supposed to accompany like an anime movie that he was like making or something?
It was kind of his. What was the Neil Young record? That was...
Can I bum you out? I don't like Neil Young at all.
Oh, really?
Isn't that weird?
You don't like his voice, or you don't like everything?
I think I respect what he stands for, and I don't mind his voice, but I might lose you on a couple of these. I don't. Can I tell you my three that I get a lot of shit for?
Oh yeah.
I don't like Weezer. I don't like Neil Young, and I don't like Bob Dylan.
I do not like Bob Dylan.
Okay. I feel like that one makes the most sense, but I don't like Neil Young, and I really don't like Weezer.
That's interesting. Most people, especially our age, who were into rock, metal, and even hardcore, really go for it. What do you think about Andrew WK?
Can't hang.
Really?
I think when it came out, it was interesting. The whole for me, it's pop with saturated gain guitars. It's in a way that, and I feel like all of the leads on every album is just octave chord piano playing ging 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 ging.
Right.
I certainly don't. It's not like I'm like fuck this guy. I don't like it at all. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I get it. Like when that I Get Wet thing came out, I was like, I mean, it is what it is. It's like a party anthems, and it's like this guy's hyped, and like his performances are really energetic, and I think that like
amazing.
The whole thing about it is cool. But like when I'm not gonna sit at home and like, you know what I want to listen to right now?
Right. I'm gonna clean the house.
When it's time to clean the house, I will clean it hard.
Have you seen Jack's house? Man, he can clean hard.
It's so clean in there. It's like he's cleaning on meth. I'm just cleaning my house in white jeans with
high
a nose
kicking.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever do any gigs with him?
I think we were on like festival stuff that he was at, but we've never done any dedicated shows with him.
He's pretty amazing. And I think like part of his band was like, he had all these like Florida death metal guys in his band, right?
You know what? I really don't know that much about him.
Oh yeah. Who's the band? God damn it. Obituary? Did he have guys from Obituary in his band?
I would love that. I don't know, but I could imagine if you're in Obituary, it's like, hey, you want to play something on the total opposite end of the spectrum from what you're doing?
And make money?
Yeah. He's like, we're doing well. Basically like top 40 style right now. We're like, what?
We played a show with those guys, and he was incredible. He was like the best dude, and like came to our rescue when we really needed it at a moment when we needed it. And it was great.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
I'll forever like sing his praises, even though
I'm not saying anything bad personally about anyone. I'm just, but I mean, who am I to talk? Like, I'm also going to be like, I'm dragging my wife to go see Ween. It's not like people are going to be like, oh yeah, like you're the pinnacle of like of appropriate taste as far as music is concerned. I own like Gigi Allen vinyl. I'm not going to like preach to anybody about what's good and what's not good.
That's good. That's good. What were you doing before Bayside?
I worked at a software company doing, well, I'd been in bands kind of like more recreationally at that point. I fronted a 3-piece prog metal band for a while.
Really?
Which was unlistenable to all but a few, I guess. It's like, hey, what if the song didn't repeat parts, was 12 minutes long, and you had 3 solos? So I'm like, yeah, I'm listening. It's like, okay, cool. They're like, what's the song about? They're like, I don't know. What about like if cartoons came to life and tried to take our jobs? They're like, we're onto something, folks. Like, let's run with this.
That was very prophetic.
That was, and it was me and 2 guys, both of whom were recreational pharmacologists. So we practiced a lot. It was like, I think that we were pretty good, but like nobody cared because it was just super masturbatory. But it was fun, and it was like it was kind of what got me into Bayside. But I was, at the time, I was working doing marketing for a software company outside of Boston. And just like, I would go to work in the morning, I'd come back from work, and I'd go straight to practice. I would help weigh out like 1/8 bags and then smoke a ton of weed and practice until like midnight, and go back home, fall asleep, and just do it all over again.
So did you not move to New York until you joined the band?
I joined Bayside and was in Bayside for like a year and a half. I don't think I moved to New York until 2005 or 2006. And at that point, it was just couch hopping. I rented out what was essentially a closet at a couple of my friends' house and put an air mattress in it, and they would just let me stay.
That's a New York story, man. Yeah.
But this wasn't even New York. This was it's New York, but it was in Long Island. This was in like Levittown. Right. So it wasn't even like, I was like, I've made it. I was like, no, I was like, look, I'm in Long Island. I'm with some good friends. It's a good place to hang, and there's a really good pizza place down the street, and that's all and it was like, right. This is good for now. And I didn't even move into the city until I met my now wife. So when we moved in together, we moved into Flushing. We lived in Bayside for a year, which was dark for her because she was working in the city, and I was gone like 10 months out of that year. So she was living in a shitty apartment with non-English speaking Korean downstairs neighbors who hated us, who just yelled at us all the time. They'd send their kid up to yell at us for like walking at night.
Right.
And then, and then we just made it to the Upper East Side and just stayed there until we were like, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Right. Where were you guys at Upper East?
89th and 2nd.
Oh, Barney Greengrass? Do you ever hit that?
No, where's that? What was that?
Deli. It's a deli, like, it must be about 89th, yeah.
Shoot.
Right around there, but it's, what is like 3 or 4 blocks over from the park. What would that make it?
Madison? Let's see, Park, Madison, Lexington?
One of them.
Lex, 2nd, 3rd, Lex.
Probably
Madison,
Lex.
Park. Yeah.
Or Madison. Yeah. It's great. Shoot. Never went there. Wow.
I didn't. We had our spots. That wasn't, I guess that wasn't one of them. For sandwiches, we used to go to, there was that grocery store at first, that got on Valentina, that was on First and high 70s. That was like a great Italian sandwich spot. There was another place that we just called the Milano Mart that was up on 88th and 3rd that had great sandwiches. And then we had like one of those like Bodega 24 places across the street that was just like, you go get chicken cutlet there or like egg and cheese on a roll. And it was great. And you know what? And then I moved to Nashville, where nobody can make a fucking sandwich. And everyone who tells you that you can get a sandwich here is definitely from a place like, I don't know, like Arkansas. Yeah, and they're like, this place is great. This is the best sandwich I've ever had. Like,
I've never had a panini like this. It's great.
Like, you've never had a sandwich?
Can you believe it? They have a foreman. They have a custom foreman, and it'll burn your initials into your sandwich.
It's got lines on it. That looks so good. Like, oh, yeah, but nothing in it is good. I feel like I've talked to I have a friend in Chicago who's like he works for a bunch of breweries, but he also does kind of like cookbook stuff. And he was like, man, I've always thought about moving to Nashville and like doing a kind of like a Salamaria or like some sort of like a sandwich spot where we do all the baking in house. I was like, if you do this, first of all, I'm going to be your best customer,
Right.
and I'll like kiss you on the mouth. But I was like, if somebody could just move here from a place that's like, hey, look, I can really make bread, and I really want to make sandwiches. I would really appreciate that.
What?
Never gonna happen.
What is the place that I had a great breakfast at there 20 years ago? Loveless?
Oh yeah, Loveless Cafe.
Yeah.
They do great. Those biscuits are out of sight.
Oh,
That's one of those things.
Yes.
There is actually, for like southerny comfort food, there's some places. Like if you want to wear sweatpants to breakfast and then basically commit yourself to 18 hours of couch before you go back to sleep, there are some places. But as far outside of the southern comfort fare,
Right.
it's expanding. There's stuff happening, but
Yeah.
I haven't had nothing's been blowing me away. I mean, you came from Seattle, which is like also like one of those places that has like amazing food almost everywhere you go. And then
Right.
living in New York, where you're like, well, this is everywhere you go after places like that, you're going to just feel like a snob when people are like, oh, would you try this? Be like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had better corn. Yeah. Cool corn dog, kid.
Yeah. Like that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to write a story about it.
I feel like I had some surprisingly good Thai food there.
Was it Thai Phuket down by the there's a place called Thai Phuket that was down by the football stadium.
No, it was out. It was across out in the weird
In the somewhere else.
Yes.
In the upside down.
It was in the upside down for sure. It was out there.
There's a couple. It has its moments. I don't want to. Again, I feel like I'm being a snob, but there's some places are really good, and some places are.
There's some pretty good coffee to be had there.
Yeah, a lot of that whole like third wave thing went nuts, and there's a lot of craft coffee.
Yeah.
A couple of the guys in the band in Bayside have a roast. They're doing the bunch of roasting out in Costa Mesa, and their stuff is getting. Yeah, they have a company called Legal Speed that's picking up some. They're starting to pick up steam, but it's going pretty well. I think it's funny. We did a.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to say they're picking up momentum? Hey yo!
I think that their whole thing was based on a Descendants. Oh, it was based on a Lagwagon lyric, and I think we had gone to one of the Punk and Drublics. We had a day off where they were running the NoFX were doing the Punk and Drublic thing in Ohio, and it was right after Mike had made all those comments in Vegas about the country shooting. Or the shooting at the country concert in Vegas. So they got kind of kicked off their own festival. But we went. They didn't play, but Lagwagon was there. And I think Nick and Chris met with Joey, and they were like, hey, man, just wanted to tell you that our company's called Legal Speed, and, you like coffee, and it's named after your lyrics. And he was like, basically like, cool, see ya. And they just left. And they would go, fuck that guy. Like, what the hell? I was
Great story, kid.
Straight up. I was like, I don't know if he didn't hear you or if he just definitely didn't give a shit, but he seemed like he was kind of like ready to be doing something else while you guys were talking to him.
Those are always the worst, man. And it always happens at a festival because there's so many. Of course, because there's so much opportunity for it to happen, right? Because there's so many bands, maybe some legacy bands. I love to throw that word around. Legacy band, a band that's been around for more than 20 years. I don't even know if that's the right statistic. I just made that up. What does it take to be a legacy band?
If it's 20 years, then Bayside is a legacy band this year.
Is that right?
Yeah, this was our big tour. This was our 20-year celebration that we had the whole year booked out.
Fuck.
And that got canceled. Such is life. So our 20-year tour will actually be our 21st birthday, so we can drink.
Right.
As
the
a band
can actually drink.
Yeah, the band we can use the band as on our ID card.
Did you guys reschedule your dates for 2021, the summer and spring and all that?
Oh yeah, we did, and again, and then maybe again. And I'm sure you probably are experiencing a little of that as well, where we booked everything. We were our one tour that we were going to be doing. We had a bunch of stuff that was on the books, and the one tour was going to be May to July, and then that got pushed to August, September, and then that got pushed to next May, and then it's getting pushed potentially again now. So who knows? Who's to say?
You ever hit Walmart down there?
I have.
It's weird. If there are a few, I try to stay away from Walmart. Not for any like political reasons, really. I mean, just even though there are many, but mostly because I don't know, not really my people. And but there are a few things where I live that, I mean, you have to go, unless you want to drive an hour, you have to go to Walmart. Like, that's where you get that shit. And that's the only place you can get that shit. And so, occasionally I go there and there's just a lot of, like, there's a lot of mask business going on, man. And a lot of people are mad about a mask, and they're mad, people are mad. People are, but you see them put a seatbelt on when they get in their car afterwards.
It's true.
And why do they do that?
I don't know. I've never. My take on the whole mask thing is, I feel like I'm pretty much I feel like I'm a good kind of middle of the roader. I don't believe that this is nothing. I know that it's something, and I am happy to wear a mask in places where it's required. I don't wear a mask in my house. I don't wear a mask in my car by myself. If I'm going for a walk in my neighborhood, and I live in a pretty, I wouldn't say rural, but I certainly live in like a non-densely populated suburban area.
Right.
I'm not walking my dog with a mask on. But if I'm going to the store, if I'm going anywhere else, even if it's not for me, I would gladly put on a mask, because if I feel like if all these people in here are going to feel safer with me wearing a mask, why wouldn't I do it? I don't care.
Right.
And it's also, I'm not working in a place where I have to wear 10 hours at a time. I would understand the frustration if certainly that were the case. If I was like, I'm wearing this mask for 10 hours a day and everyone's coming in without masks, this is fucking bullshit, I would be pissed off too.
Where does that even happen, where a person works for 10 hours and people come to their work and don't wear masks?
Oh, like in Walmart or in Target or in any of these stores.
Oh,
if you're working in retail and you're working in a grocery store and you're going in there and people are like, I'm not wearing a fucking mask in here. It's like, listen, man, I have to wear this for 10 hours. You're going in to get, I don't know, a 12-pack of Coors Light and a fucking Slim Jim. You can wear a mask for fucking 45 seconds while you get your groceries and get the fuck out. In the off, like, I want to grab the guy, just be like, in the off chance that this is really serious and you get it, at least then you won't be able to kick yourself in the ass and be like, was it worth killing your family over this? I feel like, well, so I should have just put the mask on, or maybe not gotten the Slim Jim. I don't know.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I don't care. It doesn't. And like, but everything has been like, we've been. I guess, I'm not like strictly quarantined in my house in the sense that, like, I'm not like, I'm gonna go to the store if I need stuff. I'm not going to bars, and I'm not like, nobody's really eating out. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, but you're right. Like, if you get in and people are gonna be like, you need to wear a seatbelt. Be like, why? Be like, well, because if you get in an accident, it's gonna protect you from potentially. Be like, well, I drive safe. Be like, yeah, but not everyone drives safe, and maybe that guy's going to hit you, and you'll still fly through the windshield, even if it's not your fault. Like,
right.
So, like, that's the way I think. It's like, all right, I'm going to go to the store. Be like, yeah, chances are most of these people have been in their house all day, and like, maybe nobody's doing that, but maybe there's a guy who's been going out and partying on Broadway in Nashville, and he got in the hepatitis bathtub truck that's like a fucking nightmare of like a cesspool of fluid that just goes up and down Broadway and lets 20-something bachelorettes drink Jaeger shots while they parade their fucking drunk selves up. Is that a real thing? It is. It's so, since like in the last 6 or 7 years in Nashville, you've been there. So like, Broadway was always one of those things. It was a little bit seedy, and it was like honky tonks and stuff. It's now just it's like kind of got a French Quarter / Vegas, just,
or Daytona Beach, probably.
Yeah, kind of just depraved. Mostly Southern. A lot of bachelorette parties, a lot of like country fans, but it's just turned in. So it's packed all the time. And then somebody figured out that if you got any type of a vehicle, starting with pedal taverns, but then it's progressed to like, I've got a tractor with a flatbed and it's like now a drunk hayride. There's a guy driving like a military transport vehicle that's got people in the back and it's called like I don't know, like camo drunk or something, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even sure. But now they have another one that's a truck pulling a giant, like home fashioned plexiglass tank that is sort of like a hot tub with benches around it. And you get your bathing suit on and you sit in this mobile hot tub and drink your own liquor while it just goes up and down Broadway.
No.
Yes. See.
And you jump in the water and swim and people can see through it because it's plexiglass?
Yeah, I guess you would do that if
How
you
deep
were.
is it?
It's
gross.
If you were like not concerned with, I don't know, like, look, there's no accounting for taste. I would say it's probably about 2 feet deep. It's like a giant.
Oh, it's not okay.
It's not like a swimming pool where people are diving in. It's more like a disgusting hot tub on wheels. That's
Look,
like,
if you've got an above ground pool, if you've got any sort of a, it's really not a stretch for you.
no, but I got to ask this: when you so you've made your way to Nashville for your weekend or your week of just excessive drinking, and you're out and you decide to do this. Like, where's your next move? Like, you're not getting out of this like smelly hot tub thing in your bathing suit, being like, we're going to Roberts. Like what is your move? It's like you're gonna get to the door and the guy's gonna be like, you're soaking wet and you smell like piss. Like, we can't let you in here. Like,
we don't have a dress code, but you're not appropriate.
We don't care about much here. It is funny to watch God get kicked out of Nashville a little bit though, because I feel like in the last 10 years also they were like, you can't buy booze on Sunday. Right. You can't do this. You can't do this. And they're like, well, there's a lot of money from tourism. Be like, all right, you can buy booze on Sunday. I guess we can start relaxing these rules.
How much a day?
They're like, oh yeah, well, I guess we should. Yeah, we could do that. I guess we could. It's like,
it was all downhill once they got an NFL team.
No, well, it's funny. Like, the hockey team is the one that's actually kicking ass. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I don't know much about. I'm not a super football fan, but I do know that the Titans have traditionally not been a very good. I don't even think when they were the Houston Oilers they were a good team. I'm not. This is like, that might be dating myself. What was that, like the 90s?
Right.
And I only remember that because I had a shitty football card collection. I was like, Warren Moon, the quarterback for the Houston Oilers. We're like, very cool. That's my sports knowledge. But the Predators are like a legitimately decent team. And it shocks me that they have a minor league baseball team here, but like with between Vanderbilt having one of the best like college baseball programs in the country, like they don't have a baseball team. That's weird.
Right.
I don't know.
They don't need one.
I guess everyone's too busy and they're getting sick in the hot tub going up and down Broadway. They don't have time.
So is that shit going on
now? Present day.
Yeah. Now, like last weekend. Today. Last weekend. People were getting drunk on Broadway, listening to people play Friends in Low Places.
You know what's a good one? It's like the country accent and You Shook Me All Night Long. Or like Lit's My Own Worst Enemy. Those are the two that I hear a lot.
Really?
Yeah, weird, right? Where is it? Let me see if I can find it.
And people are out there and they're doing it with no masks? Or with masks?
Why would you wear a mask?
Right.
In the hot tub.
In the
hot tub of death.
Right. How are you supposed to hook up and cheat on your spouse with a mask on? No one knows what you look like, or maybe that does help.
I wish I could find a picture of this because there's a meme site that does it covers a lot of it's called Music Shitty, and it's all basically like everything terrible about Nashville in the last 10 years.
Is it an Instagram thing?
It is an Instagram.
I'm going to have to follow that.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's definitely very geographically specific, but it's some of the stuff is pretty good. I'm trying to see if they have. I thought that they had posted a picture of the.
People are probably so sick of hearing me say this, but 20 years ago I went to the Station Inn for the first time, and that neighborhood was pretty sketchy back then.
Oh yeah.
And then I went there again, like 9 years later. And I don't even know if I walked by there. I maybe walked by it, and it was just like, oh yeah, there's that place that I saw the incredible bluegrass jam, and we played at the Rock Club on the other side of the river that night. I don't know what it's called.
Rock Club on the other side, on East Nashville. They had the.
You could maybe walk to downtown. Maybe it wasn't across the river. Like,
oh, it might have been like Exit In would have been like the classic-y kind of like how big a room would it have
Rock
been?
Club. It was like it was probably next to a brewery or something that looked like it could have been a brewery, and it was like a classic rock club. Probably held like 800 people.
Probably Exit In. Exit In is like classic. Like it. That would be kind of the closest thing to like a real. It's got good sound. It's like black. There's like a small balcony in the back. It's in an area that's got a bunch of bars and stuff around it. But that's the only place that I'm thinking of that would be like a true.
Maybe so. Yeah,
rock.
Maybe.
There's a place across the street called the N that feels like they might have filmed the Dukes of Hazzard fight scene in at some point. It's like this place is very much made out of wood, isn't it? Like on the inside, and like you're like I don't know how many people are supposed to be in here, but this doesn't look
smoking.
Safe. Oh no, smoke them if you got them.
And then I didn't go there again until like a few years ago, and I was like, I'm gonna go find the Station Inn, you know.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Wow, that's a whole other place.
That area is called the Gulch, and it didn't exist. Yeah, like 7 or 8 years ago, it was like the back of the Nashville power station of the electricity company here. And then we looked when I first moved here, we were looking for an apartment coming out of New York, and they were like, we have 2 bedrooms starting at $2,500. I was like, hey, we just moved out of New York. Like, I'm not trying to spend a bunch of money. I thought this was cheap to live here.
Right.
I was like, and also, what's the benefit? I'm like looking across the street into a vacant lot filled with like electric scraps and like out of commission trucks. And they were like, well,
welcome to the South.
I know. It's like, this is showing a lot of promise. We're like, fuck that. Then, of course, we moved to East Nashville and found a place for like $600 a month. We're like, now we're talking. And then the Gulch turned into that thing where it's all like high. It's like, this is a luxury hotel with a bar on top and where you can have a $30 cocktail. I was like, fuck me. Like, what the hell happened?
It's pretty weird.
That's a strange area. I guess Nashville, that's kind of what's happening. It's just it's like the full whitewashing and gentrification of the Station Inn still looks exactly the same. That building looks very much like what it always has.
And I heard the inside hasn't changed much either.
No, I think I'm curious to see how long things like that can hold out in an area that's changing so quickly. And you know, like with the development that's happening in Nashville in general, it's just one of those things where you're like, well, we'll see all these places that are beloved, all these beloved dives and kind of like seedy, small places that just can't compete. It's kind of sad to see it go. And I'm not like I'm native, and I've been here under 10 years, so I definitely don't feel like I've got too much of a right to super complain, because it's like as far as people who are from here originally, I'm still probably part of the problem. And it's like, well, you're just a fucking another transplant who came from New York anyway. Right. I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
Was there any other place in the running for you guys?
Well, my wife works for ASCAP, so she was working in
Hey,
in the
could you chase down some money for me?
Well, you can get behind all my other friends of ASCAP, and she has to explain that that's not her job. She's like, no, but I can give you the number that you could call and talk to somebody in member services.
1-800.
She was working in the one over on Broadway across from Lincoln Center for a long time. And then we were talking about, like, we're never going to be able to afford to own a house or have a dog or have a family.
Right.
And we had talked about leaving, and we were like, well, maybe North Carolina, or, maybe we go somewhere north, maybe we go to Vermont, maybe we do something
Asheville.
else. Yeah, any of these places. And then her job approached her, and they were like, hey, how would you feel about moving to Nashville, and we'll give you more money? And we're like, you're going to give us more money to move to a place that's substantially cheaper? And we're like, yes, let's go. Like, as soon as possible, please. So,
and it's not like they were asking you to go to,
Yeah. Would you like...
How would you feel about moving to Kansas or fucking Lincoln, Nebraska?
Actually, I would move to Lawrence, Kansas. I could hang in Lawrence a little bit, but that's
pretty cool.
But it's like, where do you go? It's like, hey, you want to get out of Lawrence? Be like, oh, yeah, but where? I can't drive anywhere.
Right.
I'm trying to think of where.
Yeah, if you want to go anywhere, it's a 3-day drive.
I don't want to be mean to people that live places, but I'm thinking of a number of places right now where we're like, you want to go here? We're like, fuck no.
Right.
Can I make fun of? I don't want to make fun of Oklahoma out loud right now.
I mean, I wouldn't want to go. I mean, I wouldn't even want to live in Norman, and Norman's an okay town.
I know
that'd
that
be your best option.
I guess parts of Tulsa might not be as soul crushing. I just had one of my favorite tour, like sad tour stories was we had played somewhere in Oklahoma City, and I remember it was one of those places where there's like nothing, the venue's there, and you're like, there's nothing here. Like, where do I eat? They're like, well, if you go down the road about 2 miles, there's a shopping mall. They're like, all right, well, I got nothing going on all day. I'll walk to the mall. So I'm walking along this, it's one of those like sketchy, like just off the highway. You're like, I shouldn't be walking here. And I'm walking by, and it's just like heaps of trash, like mattresses on the side of the road, and just like weird garbage. And then I get to the mall and I go in, and I'm not, this is the God's honest truth. The only stores there was a huge mall, and there were only like 3 things open in it. There was a Bath and Body Works, there was a sword store, and there was a Chinese restaurant called Chinex. And that was it. And everything else was caged up and fully empty. Right. So
sword store. What did you get?
A blowgun. I wanted to buy something from every store in the mall, so I got Chinex, which, first of all, that sounds like an industrial disinfectant. That's not a place to eat food.
Yeah.
But I did, and it was not good. And then I got a blowgun from the sword store, and then I just didn't need anything. And like when I was like, you know what, Bath and Body Works is like a full-on. That's a corporation. I think they're going to be, if they're still here, they've got business. I don't need to buy anything.
They'll be okay.
I don't need any scented bath salts. But you know what? Blowgun was a huge success. And my bus driver on that tour hated the fact that I had a blowgun because that was also during a heavy drinking period for me. So there was a lot of like moving bus blowgun activities. I was like, hey, Chris, hold the guest list book up in front of your head, and I'm going to try to shoot this through it.
What were the projectiles?
Like darts, like 3-inch needles.
Really?
Hold on. I'm going to get up and walk away for about a minute. You have to I'm coming right back.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what you shoot out of the blowgun.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh yeah, no, not at all. Look at this. It comes with a bunch of them. And it's got you can sight things on this. But it's actually, I don't know what I can shoot in here. If I start shooting shit with a blowgun in here, my wife is going to lose her mind. I don't want to just put stuff in the wall. Let me see, what can I?
I mean, it looks like it's got like a suction cup to back pressure.
Yeah, you see, you load it in this way, and then, God, I want to shoot this so bad.
Whoa.
There you go. It's into a cardboard. There's a cardboard box with something. But yeah, if you actually give it a good little huff, you can bury this thing like a good, like these. What do you say these are? Probably this is like a good 4 inches.
Yeah.
But you can put we've discovered that you can shoot this solidly through a binder, like through the foam back, like a guest list binder, or really? This would go through.
It would go right into someone's neck.
Oh, this would hurt you real bad. This would definitely. It's a weapon for sure.
It came from
the sword store.
Did you put one of those in a person ever?
No, I've never shot a person with it.
Did you have to reorder darts at any point because you lost some?
It came with extras. I actually am only missing one dart out of this whole set.
Do you know where it is?
I just shot this one.
The driver threw it out the window.
Oh man, that was a good one. We had a driver that was he sounded like this. It's like a total bus driver guy. But he was like older and very slim, but he was like, hey man, what's up? And I think it was one of those nights where I was like kind of shit faced, and I'd be like, what happened to your voice, man? I was like, you were like a heavy smoker or something. He's like, no, I got some sort of infection in my throat, and that was it for me. I was like, oh, I feel like a piece of shit. But we would just be up there like shooting it into the walls and the bus on the side and the cabinets
shit.
as we're driving, and then we'd just be like, he'd be like, hey, you kids, stop shooting that fucking blow gun back there.
You're gonna fuck up my cabinets.
And we're like, sorry. But like all that weird, like plushy sort of fake leather padding around the windows and stuff. We're like, bing! You're like, oh, sorry about that.
Not all, but a lot of those bus drivers are like truck drivers, really, right?
Yeah.
They moved over, and so a lot of them have a lot of hillbilliness running through their veins.
I love it.
It gets pretty hicky up there if you're ever like not able to sleep one night on a night drive, and you're just like, I'm gonna go sit up there with the driver and just see what's up. Yep. And they're just like, let me tell you a story about the time I was driving for Kid Rock.
I'm absolutely here for this story. Let's go.
Let's have it. Well, yeah.
Man, we had a driver that drove Snoop Dogg for a long time. And she had some pretty good stories. She was like, I'm just talking about like, you're like, yep, he smokes that much weed. We would have to stop, and he would go, and I stayed at the hotels that he stayed at because we would drop the crew off and all this and blah, blah, blah. And he would just like, basically he only slept, and then he'd just be in the back, like high stakes gambling all day, like playing like Tiger Woods golf. And I was like, she's just like yakking. It's like one of those things where I'm like watching the sun come up. I'm like, fascinating. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Go to bed.
That's the thing about tour, though. It's just like,
I miss all that stuff. Miss the blowgun. Gonna bring that back on tour.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to fly that thing.
No. Well, you never know. I think I get this routine. If I took it apart, it's really just a piece of piping.
Just pack it in, like take it over to SIR, pack it in with some backline shit, and get it its own little road case. None of this soft gig bag bullshit for the blowgun.
It's gonna have the recessed latches on it. It's gonna be real nice.
Anvil case. Some fucking calzone shit.
Like, what does this feel like? It's like a flute. It's like we're like a Jethro Tull tribute band.
It's a death flute.
We're a black metal Jethro Tull tribute band. It's
Deathro Tull.
Stop digging. Oil.
Fuck. I feel like, here's what I feel like. I feel like I could talk to you for 5 hours, but I'm going to turn this off and we're going to talk some other shit.
Okay.
Because there's some funny shit I'm going to tell you about that I can't talk about on the recording because it just can't talk about it on the recording. Not because it's bad, because people can't know about it. They'll know about it later.
Fair enough.
I feel like there are 20 things that I wanted to talk to you about, and we didn't get to them because we were too busy having laughs. And that is a sign of a perfect time.
Oh, well, I'm glad. I had a blast. I love talking to you. Well, maybe we'll do it again sometime. You can have me back. If this doesn't tank.
Oh no.
If people are like, "Oh, that guy was interesting," then we'll do it again. And if people are like, "Who the fuck is?" You have no business having. You take that guy right off of your show.
Who is that ass clown?
Feel like I don't know. I guess some of my friends sent them to me. I don't know it. I don't know from Adam.
Do you want to before I hang everyone up on us? Do you want to like push your pedals or anything that you build?
Yeah, sure.
Is that a thing that you?
Well, currently I'm building for a company called 1981 Inventions, but I am in the process of starting my own project, and it's going to be called Primary Sounds. Oh. And I will have I probably will have a working prototype. This is all very new. I have an Instagram handle and a website, but there's nothing on it right now.
Okay.
So if people are interested in what the whole premise of this is, Primary Sounds is going to be hand built, through hole, custom built, kind of classic effects. I'm not doing nothing. We talked a little bit earlier about me doing kind of zany stuff, but like to start, what I really want to do is to focus on the effects that I use. I want to figure out how to tweak them in a way. I basically want to make the effects that I want to put on my pedal board.
Right.
And go from there. But they're all going to be hand built. I really like the process. So kind of small batch stuff like that. But yeah, Primary Sounds. The first thing is going to be a analog style delay with a lot of kind of like more current functionality. And if I had to put an estimate on when those will be starting pre-order, probably early next year, 2021. But Primary Sounds will be the Instagram account. And as soon as I have stuff coming, if you want to follow that, as soon as I have anything to show, it'll show up there first.
I love that your first pedal is a delay and not an overdrive or a clean boost.
Well, there's a lot of those. Also, like, I guess, like, when we were talking about, like, the guitarist that I was kind of, like, listening to a lot, I think a lot of, like, I know U2 is a band that doesn't necessarily get a ton of love, but I kind of really liked early U2, and I specifically liked a lot of what The Edge does with dotted eighth delay and kind of that vibe using, like, AC30s with either, like, Explorers. Specifically, well, I got like that guy back there. That's one of those ones where I'm like, oh yeah, like early U2 guitar. But I like the idea. I really like AC30, overdriven AC30 with dotted eighth stuff, and using a lot of like delay for ambient, like textural stuff. So delay is probably one of the effects that I use the most. I have 2 delays on my pedal board now. I use like a DD7, and I have a 2399 delay that I built, but it doesn't have, I'm using both of those because I need to, because one doesn't have all the stuff that I want on it.
Right.
So yeah, that'll be my starting point. And then from there,
I love that in all the options out there in the world, you have a DD7, because I think that's the Boss DD series is one that gets overlooked a lot. And because people are like, no, I have to have this, or I have to have that, or, I need to have the new thing that whoever is making. And
like me.
Well, no, but it's great. I think there's just there are a lot of there's so much. This is the golden age of pedals, right? And if you broke that thing, you could, you have your other one, you have the 2 of them, and you lean on that DD7 probably because you can get that one. How many of the other one do you have? I bet you have a backup. I carried a backup for everything.
Well, the one that this is the other one that I use is one that I make.
Right. And so you carry 2 or 3 of them with you on tour?
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, with the last few tours, I usually bring about 15 of them and I sell them.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll have like backstock. So if one shits the bed, I'm like, well, I'll just go and take another one out and throw it on my board.
You can sell them at the merch table. Jesus Christ, that's fucking genius.
No, it's great. I don't bring them out there because I don't want to cannibalize our merch, but I'll make like, I'll post about it on the day of the show. I'll be like, hey, I got a couple delays. Or if we're playing like, if we're doing like a short run, we're doing 14 shows, I'll usually just say, hey, I'm selling one tonight if you want it, like first person hit me up gets it, and I'll sell one per show.
Right.
And then it's semi direct to consumer. I was like, also, if you hit me up, I'll hand it to you. You don't pay shipping, and I'll come out and hand it to you personally and be like, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Here's your pedal. I built it by myself.
What do you think about crop dusting?
Using tools, yeah. Yeah. You want to talk about chemtrails? Yeah. What do you think about aliens living and working among us? They're like, hey, man, I got to go. My girlfriend's over there, and you've been talking to me for 45 minutes.
That's a conversation that you want to have with Leif.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got Leif on.
I haven't, I guess
I flipped the switch for Leif the other day, and I was like, Leif, what if, because, he had a very Christian upbringing. I was like, Leif, what if the angels, what if they're us, time traveling back all the different times where superhuman entities came and visited, they were actually humans from the future, because we're like fucking giants, man. Like, even a fucking average sized person now is fucking huge compared to how big someone was, not that long ago. So if we sent, if we sent Duff back in time, they'd be like, a giant.
What do they call them? The big whites, the tall whites. Is that what they are?
Oh, he knows what the name is. There was like a Bible name. They have like a fancy perdupadoopadoopadoopadus, and they were like super beings that came down and did sex to normal humans. And I think that was probably horny. I was like, horny time travelers.
I don't think you're wrong. All of that makes so much more sense to me than either the time travelers or just straight up space aliens.
Because I was like, man, I'm not a strong believer, but this 2020 shit is really like all the worst parts of the Bible. And I was like, yeah, this is the deal, Leif. And I think he probably already had a couple of spliffs in him, and he's just like, whoa.
You're fucking up my whole childhood, man.
He's probably still thinking about it. I'm certain.
Future Vikings coming back.
Future Vikings. Yeah, going back, and they like just drop the scriptures down, and they're like, yo, check it out. I know you guys are dumb and you don't know shit, but we're going to tell you some stuff real dumb style because your fucking tiny brains can't handle the future. Remember the future. I just brought it. I just Chappelled you.
Remember the future. Guys, remember the future? That shit was fucking sweet. And then there's like some serf wearing like peasant clothes, like it's like that thing in the Monty Python Holy Grail where they're like, help, I'm being repressed. And then all of a sudden fucking Duff shows up and he's like, oh man, things are going to get so much better, guys. Don't worry about it.
Listen, the polio, all this stuff is going to go away. There's going to be a couple plagues, but listen, here's the name of the guy that invents plastic. You guys should kill him. Kill him. Before he grows. Kill him before he grows.
He's like your Skynet. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there are a lot of terrible people that are going to come along, but the plastic guy, kill Jimmy Plastics, okay?
Oh, Jimmy Plastics.
Whatever the fuck his name is.
I hope it's Jimmy Plastics.
Yeah.
Hey guys, burning oil is really bad, but turns out I figured out a way to turn it into this indestructible substance that we can never fully get rid of.
Right.
And even though they're going to invent some mushrooms someday that are going to eat these things, it's still never going to be enough.
They'll never be able to grow enough of these things.
Guys, I came up with this great thing. It's called plastic. It's going to revolutionize the way we carry stuff. And be like, cool, all this is amazing. Is it going to be used sparingly? Be like, no, not at all.
No, it's going to give you cancer.
Yeah. And everywhere you go, they're just going to stuff for free. They're just going to be throwing bags of it at you all the time.
Yeah.
Everything you buy is going to be covered in it. You're like, okay.
Huh, really? Yeah.
Jimmy, I don't think it's a good idea, Jimmy. Trust me, it's going to be
Kill him.
Yeah.
Kill him. And Danny Neutron, too. Danny Neutron, kill that guy.
Jimmy, Danny, check.
Okay, fuck it. I got to turn this thing off. We've gone too far.
Sorry to everyone.